shift in momentum. On your morning commute, on your lunch break, on your drive home. Our shows have you covered from puck drop to final buzzer and everything in between. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver's playoff headquarters.
Performance matters in intimate moments. Don't let ED ruin them. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and I want to assure you that if you're like the vast majority of guys, you don't have to suffer with ED anymore. In fact, you might be pleasantly surprised at how the right treatments could positively impact your love life. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, our advanced medical therapies go far beyond pills. We have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, and we offer specific and combinative treatments that can dramatically enhance both your performance and your stamina. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a far greater level of intimacy to both you and the one you love, perhaps performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and find out why our advanced treatment strategies offer so much more. Your first visit is just $99 and gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, advanced medical science to improve men's lives.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zach here. On behalf of my friends at American Financing, guys, people are living paycheck to paycheck, and everything just feels more expensive. If you're a homeowner, there is a way out, and American Financing is helping people just like you every day. They're not going to judge you. They're here to help you look at your whole financial picture, not just your credit card debt. Imagine decluttering your monthly bills into one manageable payment. Imagine freeing up cash flow for the things that actually matter. Their average customer saves $800 a month, and you may even delay 2 mortgage payments. And if you're refinancing, you may close in as fast as 10 days. Stop financing your past and start funding your future. Make your equity your exit strategy. American Financing is a family-owned mortgage lender, licensed in all 50 states with salary-based mortgage consultants, no upfront fees, and no obligation. So call them at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
When a semi-truck hits you, it's not always just a fender bender. First, it's the missed work. Then the medical bills pile up. And these big rig companies can move fast with teams of lawyers, investigators, and denials. If you're not ready, you're already behind. At the Berg Simpson Law Firm, we've handled these cases for decades. So if you've been struck by an 18-wheeler, call us at Berg Simpson today.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives.
I've got to tell you about Schomp Honda. If you're looking for an SUV that can handle Colorado, check out the new 2026 Honda CR-V. It's comfortable, capable, and perfect for everything from your daily drive to weekend getaways. Right now, Schomp Honda has the largest inventory since before COVID, so you've got more options than ever. And I love this. Schomp Honda does things differently. Their one price, one person, 1 hour philosophy means a fair price up front and way less time at the dealership. They never charge dealer handling fees.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
All right, fellas, Mark Schlereth here for some real talk. If you're over 50, there's a good chance you're dealing with an enlarged prostate. Heating up at night, weak stream, all of it. Here's good news. You can get a procedure called PAE, prostate artery embolization. That's a minimally invasive procedure that's done through a tiny pinhole and you're home the same day. Colorado Advanced Endovascular in Lakewood has top-tier interventional radiologists and a boutique setting with personalized care you won't find anywhere else. Visit coloradoae.com to schedule a consultation. That's coloradoae.com.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by 5280 Exteriors, the altitude of quality.
Stream Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Dover and Cecil, The Drive, and all your favorite shows on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan app. Powered by Advanced Tax Solutions. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay.
off and rolling. Here on a Monday, May 11th. And we have so much to react to here in Denver sports. So much going on. A beautiful day in the Mile High City. A playoff game with real stakes just a few hours away. What up, James?
What's happening, ZB? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, man?
I am doing well. Did you have a good weekend? Celebrate Mother's Day, all that kind of good stuff?
Man, I had a really good weekend. Great Mother's Day. Saw my boy play quarterback, and
nice.
It was
nice.
We went out to dinner. It was great. And we'll get to some of that a little bit later. Because I want to pick your brain about your weekend. I care.
Okay.
But I do want to dive right back into this Avalanche conversation because you and I, through the years, we've disagreed on a lot. We don't disagree on everything, but we have had our share of awesome debates. I hope they're awesome. Going at it back and forth through the years for really almost a decade now.
I think that's fair, yeah.
We agree on this one.
We do.
We agree on this one in a way that I hope that wasn't going to be relevant ahead of Game 4. Now, we'll hear from Bednar and Blackwood and whatnot here after the game. Game 3 on Saturday night was so collectively disappointing. And it feels like, to a certain degree, that Scott Wedgwood is being scapegoated for a collective failure. And make no mistake, Saturday night was a collective failure, a 5-1 loss in a way that is so unfamiliar. Almost had to rub my eyes to make sure of the product that I was watching.
Yeah, he gave up 3 goals, which obviously isn't great, but it's not a disaster. One was 4-on-3, one was 4-on-4, and one was a power play, a 5-on-4. He didn't give up an even strength goal. He didn't give up a goal where I just thought, man, everybody else on the ice did their job, and Wedgie let him down. I thought it was the opposite. I thought there were all 3 goals. It was a bunch of his teammates just kind of standing around, just kind of coasting. On the first goal, Val Nichushkin is just coasting behind the play, just watching it happen.
Yeah.
He had the great pass in Game 1. Otherwise, that guy has been DB Cooper. He just disappeared. Where in the world is he? He's a guy that needs to be what?
DB Cooper on the bingo card on a Monday. I love it.
He's a guy that needs to be what? One of their 4 or 5 best players?
Yeah.
And he's not even close to that at this point.
Well, unfortunately, James, not to go too far down a rabbit hole. And by the way, if you don't know who DB Cooper is, don't do it now because you're going to be busy for the next little bit.
Correct.
DB Cooper hijacked a plane in the 70s, and he got away with it. No one ever has
parachuted out
him.
the back of the plane while it was flying.
Yes,
going from Seattle to Portland or something like that.
And it was something like that.
So.
And no one has ever been able to actually make sense of it all. There's 5 different guys who have said they're DB Cooper on their deathbed, all that stuff. Anyway, but unfortunately with Val, that's been Val Nichushkin's status really all year long. He has never returned to the player that they signed him to be after the 2022 season.
Yeah, he literally disappeared a couple of times in the postseason.
Yeah.
Right? In the Seattle series and the Dallas series. And then I just feel like on the ice, again, other than the pass in Game 1, which was fantastic, I thought it was the best moment of that game.
It was. I
agreed. It was a game that had a lot of highlights.
I agreed with you.
He's been just non-existent really throughout the playoffs, but in this series, I thought he was really bad on Saturday night. But basically,
but it wasn't
everybody
just him.
was.
I was going to say, no, it was maybe the worst playoff game I've seen Marty Netchis play as well.
They were just a total no-show. And, when I have said that, hey, this goaltending situation concerns me, everybody would fire back at me about, look at these stats for Wedgie. And, he could have won the Vezina, should have been nominated for the Vezina. And, it's what I told you last week. It's never been about the goaltender or the goaltenders. It's about the situation. And it's because you fall behind 3-0 on Saturday night. You're yanking the goalie. It makes it look like you're pointing the finger of blame at him when really it was everybody else on the ice was every bit as accountable for what was going on. And then it creates this situation. What are you going to do in Game 4? And then heaven forbid it goes bad tonight.
Right.
What are you going to do in Game 5?
Right.
You're much better off, and it's just it's a calmer situation if you know who your guy is. Barring injury, Scott Wedgwood's going to be in net. Okay. Then if he's having an off night and you yank him, okay, you're trying to spark the rest of the team of hey, you guys just got your goaltender yanked because you're sleepwalking out here. Okay, because you know what you're going to do the next night. You're going to put Scott Wedgwood out there. Now it's just this mystery I feel like on a game-in, game-out basis, and I don't think that's the best way to win a cup. Jake mentioned, Vegas has done it. Other teams have done it. Sure, there's the outlier.
I was going to say, those are the exceptions, not the rule.
Correct. I think by and large, teams that win a Stanley Cup, they know who their goaltender is on a night-in, night-out basis. As of right now, officially, we can't say that about the Colorado Avalanche, a team that's 6-1 in the postseason.
Right.
A team that won the President's Trophy. Look, and it may not derail them. They may be so good they can win despite this situation. They may be so good they're going to make Jared Bednar look like a genius. Maybe, and I hope so, but I'm heading into Game 4 with all sorts of worry, all sorts of concern, and I think if it goes poorly tonight, this thing could derail in Nuggets-type speed, where it went from 5 quarters into that series, it looked like the Nuggets were going to sweep the Timberwolves.
I know. I remember coming in here on a Monday, and Cecil Lammy asked me, did we just see Minnesota's best punch?
And then how that thing turned around in a heartbeat.
Right.
We could be looking back on Saturday as like, man, how did the Avs were rolling? We were talking they might go 16-0. Can they go 16-2 and tie the record?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and by 11 o'clock on Saturday night, I was thinking of that. Sitting there with my arms crossed in my living room, going, you were really talking about, and we knew what we were doing at the time. We prefaced it all like, hey, we know this is way too early, but I just have to take a peek. One of the greatest cup runs of all time. And you know what? I think a part of, how do I phrase this the right way? I think that it's odd. It's really odd what I'm going to bring up. But there almost feels like, not to the team or the coach, I'm saying to me, it's almost weird that I have this eye on Carolina. That, like, it's not quite an arms race, but it's like this race of dominance and, like, I'm looking for the right verbiage, like look at them over there and look at what they're doing, and you want the same sort of juggernaut, and their circumstances are different, their opponents are different, all of that, and I could make the argument it's very, very different than going up against the Minnesota Wild for all the reasons that we're beginning to understand with the Wild. But it's like, man, could this happen to the Avs again? Like doubt started to creep in on Saturday, and I'm openly admitting that, letting you know here when we pick the game in 3.5 hours, I'm picking the Avs. I think the Avs are going to win this game. I think they're going to win the series. I think they're going to win the cup. But this uncertainty around this really important decision, I don't like how I feel. I would be misrepresenting myself if I came in like unbridled confidence. It's all good, nothing to see here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I've been watching Carolina too, because it's like this race to greatness, right? It felt like it was a foregone conclusion. It was going to be Avs and Canes in the Stanley Cup final, and then whoever won that series could stake claim potentially to one of the best teams in NHL history, right? If they both got there and they were 12-0 or 12-1 or whatever the case may be, and if somebody dominated that series, if you went into that series 12-1 and you swept the Canes, who were also 12-1 or 12-0 or whatever at that point, you could really make the argument if you were the Avs. I know that was getting way ahead of ourselves. I know that doesn't even matter. They have the same parade whether they go
it doesn't matter.
16-7 or 16-2. It doesn't matter, but that's what you start thinking about
when you're 6-0, when you're undefeated,
and when you watch this team.
Right?
I mean, they just go out and dominate people.
Right.
It's like, yeah, they should go out there and win series, not with ease, but they do make it look easy. And I think we all got caught up in it. I think they got caught up in it. They look like a team that have been reading their own headlines. Of like, you know what? We are really darn good, and it doesn't matter what we do. We can make mistakes defensively, and we did in Game 1, and we won 9-6. We can overcome it. We just need to be out on the ice, and we can beat anybody. And the Wild, clearly they were the more desperate team. Like, that's just a fact. But they certainly played like the more desperate team.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like you can't fake starving, right?
Well, and that's something that I've said since my Albany days, that there's only one version of being starving, and that's to be starving. That's not like, just by the way, let me clear it, because I've heard Stokely say, there's the phrase. No, that's my phrase. Google it. You won't find it. But when that was my most disappointing part on Saturday night. It wasn't Scott Wedgwood. It wasn't one particular player. It was the lack of maturity from the group to take things for granted when you look down at your body and there's scars everywhere. This is a group that's made it out of the second round once in 9 years.
Yeah.
And so, like, here you are with a chance to and so what we saw, you get to 5-1 is because, yes, they were the more desperate group. And as Sandy Clough used to say, you can't manufacture desperation. I hope I have that right. And then you have another group who is like the alarm didn't go off to wake up. I'm not panicking, but that was the most disappointing output I've seen from the Avs in a long time. And it's more disappointing that you're far along this journey of maturity and professionalism, and that's what we saw. And now it feels like you're threatened here.
Yeah, and they look like a team that was just kind of taking it for granted. Like, you know what, we're just going to roll out there, we're going to win. And you would maybe expect that from a team that year after year after year is in the Stanley Cup final, the conference finals, has a couple of cups. Like, okay, I still don't think it's excusable, but it's understandable.
Yeah, right.
This is a team that has fallen flat on their face 8 out of 9 years.
That's right.
Like, how many more lessons do you need to learn before you get it? And they gave Minnesota life. They let the Wild off the mat. They had a chance. That's why I was so upset on Saturday. You had a chance to bury that
Correct.
team. Like, it wouldn't have officially been over, but pretty much it's over at that point.
It would have been over. It would have been over.
We'd have been talking sweep or gentleman sweep tonight. That would have been the conversation. The guys in the Minnesota room would have been saying, do we really want to get on a plane, fly back to Colorado just to lose in 5?
Right.
Like, that would have been, in the back of their minds heading into tonight. Instead, we got ourselves a series, and if Minnesota finds a way to win again tonight.
Minnesota again, Minnesota!
We got ourselves, exactly.
Like, what?
Exactly. We got ourselves some trouble if that happens. I can't believe we're saying this is a team that could be in trouble in 7 hours. I'm shocked by that.
Bednar's explanation next.
You asked for it, you got it. Backed by popular demand, it's the Drives Brouhaha.
Big social brouhaha.
This spring, Zach and Phil are back on the road, bringing their party to you. First stop, the Golden Triangle in Denver. May 22nd from 2 to 6 at Schoolyard Beer Garden.
There was quite a brouhaha.
Come find out what the commotion's all about. Head to DenverSports.com/drive for more details.
Guaranteed to bring the brouhaha.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
I'm Drew Carney, anchor with 9 News. I love the Denver sports scene and living just 20 minutes from Red Rocks. I'm here to get you ready for the day ahead with the latest headlines. Covering breaking news that affects you and your family. Getting you the information you need right when you need it. Across the Denver Metro, we've got you covered. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to Colorado's #1 streaming newscast. 9 News Mornings, weekdays starting at 4:30.
Hey guys, it's Mark Schlereth. I just made one of the best decisions of my life. I got rid of my glasses. I went to Cutarelli Vision and had refractive lens exchange, RLE. I wore glasses for distance vision, but I got to that inevitable point in life where I was always needing those reading glasses just to do about anything, and half the time I couldn't find them. Seeing menus, texting, reading my computer, or studying film, it was a struggle. But now I see the world perfectly, near and far, without any glasses, thanks to Cutarelli Vision RLE, the perfect permanent solution to spending your good active years not needing reading glasses. And here's the cherry on top: you'll never develop a cataract. Dr. Cutarelli is Colorado's most experienced, with over 90,000 vision correction procedures. You can trust him to know if it's the right time for you and RLE. Schedule your free Zoom consultation at coloradorle.com. Cutarelli Vision RLE, no readers, glasses, or contacts, or cataracts. coloradorle.com.
I'm Rob Wilhite, And for nearly 50 years, my firm has stood beside Colorado families after serious car accidents. With over $1 billion won, we know how to fight for you. Call 303-GOOD-LAW or visit willheightwins.com. That's willheightwins.com.
My father started Williams Jewelers in 1947 as a humble little neighborhood jewelry shop, and I opened our Cherry Creek North store in 1973. I'm Bruce Williams.
And I'm Michelle Williams. I literally grew up here in the jewelry business, grading diamonds and gemstones and designing custom jewelry for families just like yours.
Here at Williams Jewelers, you'll find our curated collections, including Hearts on Fire, Lake of Bahar, Sloan Street, Mastaloni pearls, and dozens more.
And a diamond and bridal department with the latest engagement ring styles and wedding bands from Tacori, A. Jaffe, and Gabriel & Company.
Add to that Tag Heuer sporting watches and pre-owned Rolex timepieces, all at the guaranteed best prices in Colorado.
At Williams Jewelers, we're proudly old school Cherry Creek North, where people and sweet puppies are always welcome.
And where you'll always be treated just like our father would.
Like family.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Stop waiting for rates and take advantage of real buying opportunities. Lowest Rate for Life helps you get the deal you want on the home today, and if rates fall in the future, we can redo your loan with no lender fees and no appraisal fees. U.S. Mortgages 303 low rate.
All loans subject to approval and change. License number 392126.
Summer lives here at the new National Western Center. Concerts and events all season long. NationalWesternCenter.com.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Roller Auction.
Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay.
All right, Jared Bednar has made a decision, apparently, who's going to start tonight. And you'll hear from Bedsy in just a second. Before we get to that, spring is back, and that evidence is on full display today in Colorado, but it also means it's time for the brouhaha. This is, I think, the third year we've done this. You can join us Friday, May 22nd, from 2 to 6 p.m. for our first stop at Schoolyard Beer Garden in Denver's Golden Triangle. We've hit this before. It is so fun. You're going to love this spot. Just to bring you inside a little bit, I do not think we're doing as many brouhahas this year as we're doing last year. So I can say that. We're doing 3 of them total. That's it.
So you don't want to miss one.
You don't want to miss one. So we would love to see you. Don't negotiate with yourself. Oh, I'll go to the next one. There's just 3, and this is 33% of them happening here on the 22nd at Schoolyard Beer Garden in Denver's Golden Triangle. All right, James Marilat filling in for Phillip Lindsay. This entire Avs Game 4 conversation has taken on new life. All right, Bednar pulls Scott Wedgwood in Game 3. And this is what he said after the game as an explanation.
I thought Wedgie was playing hard. I think maybe he looked a little too aggressive on a couple of those. Like the penalty kill, there was ends up without a stick, getting aggressive coming across, and then they find the back of the net. The next one, gets a piece of taser. I think it's a pass, and it ends up in the empty net. He's out too far, and I just felt from what I've seen out of Blackwood here recently, and arrested guy.
And just a little bit more from Bedsy.
Just felt like they had all the momentum and all the steam early in that game, and we needed to do something. We needed to do something to kind of get our guys fired up and going, and was hoping that would be part of it.
All right, so to be real, and I haven't said this yet, I really, even though it wasn't his fault, it was a collective failure, I really don't have a problem with him pulling him.
Well,
I
you
don't.
can't bench everyone else.
You can't.
Right? Like, there's only so many cards you can play in-game. So I kind of get that. And so if I don't think he should have pulled him. Certainly shouldn't have pulled him at that point because it was 3 goals and none of them were even strength. None of them I thought were soft goals at all.
There were goals that, like, if you're playing above the X's and O's and you're standing on your head, maybe you stop, but it wasn't these, oh my gosh, that was egregious incompetence.
If he'd have been having a great night, one of those nights, he could have stopped him. Yes, he could have. But you're right, it wasn't egregious. But that said, yeah, if he wanted to pull him and try and spark his team because they were very flat, they looked very disinterested. And from guy number 1 to the last guy on the roster, they looked like a group that wasn't ready to play. So if he wanted to play that card, okay, you can talk me into that. And then you just come out after the game and, yeah, but Scott Wedgwood's going to be in net on Monday night in Game 4. Like, okay, I would have no problem with that. But it feels to me like he's been wanting to go to Mackenzie Blackwood for a while, and he finally got his opportunity to the point where, like, when he's watching Wedgwood play well, it reminds me of when Elway was having to be up in the box watching Tim Tebow
I
do
knew you were
well.
going to say that.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like, oh, my goodness.
Kind of chewing glass a little bit.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I'm glad we won. I'm glad it's going well, but do I really want it to be that guy?
Right.
Because, man, he jumped at the opportunity, not only on Saturday night, but to make the switch for Game 4. That feels like it's been his guy all along, and now he's got the kind of the excuse, if you will, to make the switch he wanted to make.
Yeah, here was Bednar earlier today after morning skate when we did see Mackenzie Blackwood in the starter's net. This was Bednar after that morning skate, if Blackwood will get that starting goal tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. Awesome. Yeah, I don't answer hypothetical questions.
Him seeing some pucks last game and not being totally full. He hasn't played a game in a month or whatever. Like, how beneficial is that?
Well, I mean, he's looked sharp for us. Like, I really liked his practices and the time that he spent on the ice with UC. We're getting good reports, and, you know, like I said at the start of the playoffs, we're probably going to need both guys, and it's how we ran all year, and we have confidence in both guys, and I think Mackenzie's like ready to play, even once a net.
Thoughts?
He's looked good in practice. Like, okay, the other guy started the playoffs 6-0, and I know he wasn't great in Game 1. He gave up 6 goals, but he got the win. Right? He was really good in the Kings series. He was really good in Game 2. I don't think the goals that he gave up in Game 3 were all his fault, but Blackwood's look good in practice and be out there with the goaltending coach.
And how much are you really practicing during postseason?
Right.
Yeah.
That just seems like, man, you're really trying to justify it. And you know, the fact that he said, hey, we're going to need both guys, I get it. They needed both guys when they won a cup, but that's because Darcy Kemper took a stick to the eye. He almost lost an eye.
Yeah, literally.
So they obviously had to go to Frankie after that for a few games. And if you have to do that, so be it. You want to have a competent second guy. But again, he just feels like he is trying to justify this move, something that it appears as though he wanted to do all along, and he pounced. He got the opportunity. And listen, he may be the genius. Mackenzie Blackwood may go out there tonight and just be, stand on his head, and the Avs win 4-0, and we're in here tomorrow talking about how, man, Jared Bednar has his finger on the pulse of this team.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're gonna see. That's what we're gonna see. No, that's what we're gonna see. And,
we might.
And Steven on the YouTube chat, presented by Champagne, they're not going to come out flat like that again. They won't. I refuse to believe it. I think you're going to see the level of intention and intensity from Game 1 tonight. This team, for whatever reason, it should not have to have been the case, but this team needed to taste their own blood a little bit. I wish that wasn't the case. But if for some reason they lose tonight, and it's to the tune of, say, 5-3, I mean, we're going to have some major, major questions, and I know, and I know the way that I am, I'm going to be a nervous wreck. I'm going to be a nervous wreck.
I've been a nervous wreck since Saturday night when they fell behind, because you look ahead to Game 4 and it's like, That game means everything. And again, I'll say it again, that I think if they win tonight, I think there's a 50-50 shot, maybe better, that they go win the Cup. If they lose tonight, I think there's a 50-50 shot they lose the series. Momentum is a fickle thing. We just saw it with the Nuggets and the Wolves.
Yeah.
Nuggets had all the momentum to start that series. First 5 quarters, they were dominating. They win game 1. They're up 19 in game 2. It looked like they were going to coast to a first-round win. And then as soon as it turned, man, they really couldn't get it back. I know they won another game, but they really couldn't get it back. And do I think the Avs will come out with more intensity? I do. But can they seize that momentum back that Minnesota just took from them in Game 3?
Because here's the thing. Minnesota didn't just win. They won and gained a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
you win dominated. You win 5-1. You're getting the goaltender pulled. Like, that's more than just a win. That counts for just a little bit more when you're playing the game in the same barn as you are tonight.
Well, and the other part of it was the Avs just didn't seem to ever have an answer, right? Like in Game 1, when the Wild fell behind 3-0, they responded. Heck, they wound up taking a lead. They were up 5-4 at one point in that game.
That's right.
When the Avs were down 3-0, the way that game was going on Saturday night,
yeah,
it just was over.
Even when McKinnon scored, it lasted seconds. The way that it has all too often in this series, in terms of the Wild's response time. We'll get back to this. I mean, these are massively important conversations. It's a massive game tonight. We'll put a pin in it for now and circle back to it in due time. The Nuggets, though, James, have a big picture problem if what was said on Friday is actually true. And I'll explain my thought process next.
Game 3 didn't go Colorado's way. Minnesota cashed in where it counts, dominating on special teams and swinging the momentum in their favor on home ice. Power play chances, penalty kills, the Wild made theirs matter. Meanwhile, the Avalanche turned to a goalie change, searching for a spark, but couldn't slow the surge. Now the series tightens, and the Avs are on the hunt for answers. Can Colorado regroup and flip the scripts in Game 4? Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here for Xfinity. Imagine Wi-Fi so intelligent it actually fixes itself when something goes wrong. Imagine Wi-Fi that reaches every corner of your home, every room, every floor, every dead zone gone. Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together seamlessly. Now imagine it's built for speed and power by fiber. A network with 99.999% reliability. So whether you're streaming, gaming, or working from home, it just works. And that's not just fast, that's a security blanket for your entire network, protecting what matters most. Now, here's the best part. Lock in 5 years of predictability at the same price, no contracts, no commitments. Everything you need is included, your data, our best equipment, and the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi, all of it. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply, select plans only.
You can't always predict what's next, but you can be ready for it in a BMW SUV. The performance-driven X1 comes built for every journey, while the X3's sporty design and innovative technology keep your drive connected. The X5 blends performance with a commanding presence, or make it even bigger with 3 rows of luxurious seating in the X7. For every road, there's an X built to drive it. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Gebhardt BMW, your trusted family dealer since 1975.
Getting a little older doesn't have to mean, well, getting older. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're feeling low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, are struggling with brain fog, or your sex drive is off, it's time to change it up. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, our advanced medical strategies featuring TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more treat low T and other hormonal issues to help you shed pounds, have more energy, enhance your body composition, improve sleep, increase your sex drive, and so much more, getting you back in the game again. So don't be older. Be stronger in the gym. Be sharper at work. Be better in the bedroom, and be more confident in every part of your life. So call us today and find out how our advanced treatment strategies could change the game for you. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on one of our advanced treatment plans on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Hey, what's up? It's Zach here. And if you're looking for your new go-to spot in Centennial, the Basketball Social House is it. Award-winning food and drinks, an incredible weekend brunch, and a brand new sports bar entertainment space where you can catch every Colorado game. Even if you're not playing, it's a great hang. But if you are, their private basketball suites are unreal. Full court, lounge, music, TVs, the whole setup. And because you're hearing this from me, get half off your first private basketball suite rental. Just use code HALFOFFHOOPS. Trust me, you're going to love this place.
You're hearing this right now. So are your customers. That's radio. It still works. But your customers don't live in one place anymore. Tonight, they're streaming Denver's biggest game on their TV. Tomorrow, they're deep in the most popular podcast in the country. Next week, all three, all over again. We built one campaign that reaches them everywhere. Radio, streaming TV, podcasts, all under one roof. All measured, all working together. That's not a pitch. That's a system. DenverSports.com. Let's build yours.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
Your car at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. Want real Broncos talk? Cecil Lammy and Andrew Mason bring the heat on Orange and Blue Today. The most passionate intelligence and in-depth Broncos coverage in the game. Weekdays at 5 p.m. on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Hit subscribe at Denver Sports 104.3 and never miss another take. Orange and Blue Today, powered by Ramos Law, official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. You're listening to The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
All right, the Nuggets have a big picture problem if what was said on Friday is actually true. So there was so much to that press conference on Friday. James Merrillack filling in for Phillip Lindsay. I'm curious because I was with Will down the backstretch of last week. You were not in. I'm curious, what was your just overall takeaway before we get into specifically what I wanted to get to?
I just thought the whole thing was kind of laughable. Right, like Josh Kroenke was saying things like, well, we may run it back, we may make big moves, and I don't expect him to come out there necessarily and give us exactly what they're planning on doing, but just kind of talking in circles. That was my biggest takeaway, is every answer seemed to kind of talk in circles. I thought some of the explanation for why they're bringing David Adelman back was laughable. They went 10-6 during the Jokic stretch. Okay.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. And this was one of the things that was like a little pet peeve of mine on Friday, is that Josh Kroenke did not know how many games Jokic missed or what their record was when he was out. And it's like, this is your team. I'm a talk show host, but I'm invested. I know he missed 16 games and they went 10-6 without him. He said, and not to hijack your thing here, buddy, he said, Jokic missed, 15, 16, and someone will have to tell me what their record was without him. And I said, what? Like, dude, and someone could look at that and say, hey, man, you got a microscope over his words. It's like, dude, it's your team. If I know and I'm in the trenches with the team, it was a big deal when he was out. So, yeah, I thought that was maybe a potential microcosm, something small that represents a larger issue.
I mean, heaven forbid Bo Nix misses 7 games this year. Do you think Greg Penner would know what the Broncos' record was in those 7 games?
Well, 80 billion%.
Yeah. No, it's very telling. But look, there were some things that David Adelman did well during the season. Not only the 10-6 record during the stretch without Jokic, which I don't think any of us thought they would be able to do. We were all talking like, can they just keep their head above water? They went out and went 10-6. Okay, I don't necessarily care if it was against a bunch of bad teams from the East. It's still impressive to do. The fact that they won 54 games, which tied for the second most in franchise history, they've won 57, and 54 is the next best, despite the fact that 6, maybe 7 guys at one point we heard will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. That's impressive. But at the end of the day, none of that matters. What matters is what happens in April, May, and June. You didn't play a game in May.
Right.
That's what matters, and that just seems to be glossed over. And I get it. If you're going to go with the guy, you're going to get out there and say the things that you thought he did well, and those are true. But you can also be realistic about how that's not acceptable. And for him to talk about how he's more disappointed, and I'm paraphrasing, than Nuggets Nation, like really?
Times 100.
I mean, I don't buy that for a minute.
That's what he said, by the way. I'm jumping in saying that because that's what he said. However disappointed you are, it's me times 100.
I just don't buy that at all.
Yeah, well, one of the things that there was a handful of things that I didn't really like what I heard on Friday, and I didn't wake up being like, okay, I'm going to find everything that I don't like, because it was a year ago after his press conference, I came in here and said, man, you want to know what? I thought Josh Kroenke came off as a leader. I thought he was crystal clear with his words and really was lauding the things that he was saying. I'm not one of these people that's, firmly anti Josh Kroenke or KSC. I try to call balls and strikes, if you will.
You didn't have a narrative and then listen for things that backed up your narrative.
No. So, but one of the things that I didn't like that I heard on Friday was Josh Kroenke when he was talking about the Denver Nuggets culture. Listen to this.
From my perspective, as I move between teams, and I said this to our group last year when we made the changes that we did, if there's a title or a responsibility that I guess I would give myself that I take very seriously, it would be our chief culture officer. I want to understand the humans behind what's going on with our teams, and I think that's where you get a real read of how competitive that we're going to be. I think that there's times where the culture of a group of people is a very living, breathing thing. I've heard it described in different ways by some really intelligent people over the years. Some in sports, some out of sports. How it requires a daily maintenance. I've watched the Nuggets culture come out of the ground. I've watched the Avalanche culture come out of the ground, and both have championship cultures in their own way. And the Denver Nuggets culture, without a doubt, over the last 12 months, it's evolved. And there have been some, as it has evolved, there have been, just like any kind of organism, as you evolve into a different place, there might be a hole that emerges you didn't expect. And so I think that while I was frustrated by a few things, I also understood a few things more about the people that are involved, and we're going to look to try to address that this summer.
Okay, so there was a lot there. But here's what I don't like about this. I have seen the Denver Nuggets culture go from elite to the point where for years, and I know you know this, James, I called the Denver Nuggets the anti-NBA team, okay, with Jokic being an anti-NBA superstar for so many reasons that I'm not going to itemize right now. But it's eroded to the point where the way that I've been phrasing it starting after this first round exit is last year I saw the culture die, and this year I watched the body decompose. And when you have Josh Kroenke saying, I'm the chief cultural officer, I almost have to laugh a little bit. I don't want to laugh, but I have to really roll my eyes so far in the back of my head because it is impossible to be a cultural leader when you are not around. And I know I don't have to tell you about this. And I didn't wake up because actually in my head I thought it was flipped. I thought I was working with Will for a couple days and then you. So I didn't even realize when I did this segment that we were going to be working together today. But I know I don't have to tell you about this. But it bothers me as someone who is around. And I'm not talking about just playoff games because Josh Kroenke goes to all the playoff games. I'm talking about on a day-to-day basis, the only person that can manage a culture is someone who's there on a day-to-day basis, as he referenced in his answer about it's a day-to-day living, breathing organism. Someone cannot manage that who is not around.
I totally agree. And look, there are some things I like about the Nuggets culture. I still think they play an unselfish brand of basketball. I think they're a group of guys that seem to genuinely get along. That's been the case for a long time. They seem to root for each other. Like I really enjoyed when they were going through some of those stretches where they were missing a bunch of their guys, especially the Jokic games. you could watch the bench when players who didn't get to play a lot were out there having success and leading the team to wins. And it wasn't just, hey, we're getting wins here. That's going to help when I come back. They seemed to be genuinely excited for Payton Watson getting the opportunity to go out and do what he did, as an example.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's a good part of your culture. But part of culture also has to be, by God, winning is the number one thing. We care about winning. We're going to be competitive. We're going to, if somebody comes out and guarantees a win in Game 6, we're going to take it personally. Somebody comes out after Game 1 and calls us floppers, we're going to take it personally. Like, Minnesota takes everything personally.
Clearly.
They took it personally that the Nuggets didn't try to tank
the matchup
down the stretch, which I think is a stretch by Chris Finch, but whatever. They find that little thing to use as motivation. That's the part of the culture that I think is missing with the Nuggets. And I think that starts at the top. So if you're the chief cultural officer, is that what he's calling himself?
Yeah.
Then I think if you want to set the culture of we care about winning, championships matter. Like we down at for the Broncos, it's Super Bowl or bust. Do they have an NBA title or bust culture around the Nuggets?
Put a pin in that. I wanna piggyback on what you're saying here because there's more meat on that bone from Friday specifically. We'll do that. Also, what did we learn from Broncos rookie minicamp over the weekend, and what did you make of that Bo Nix update? That's all next.
Game 3 didn't go Colorado's way. Game on! Minnesota cashed in where it counts, dominating on special teams and swinging the momentum in their favor on home ice. Power play chances, penalty kills, the Wild made theirs matter. Meanwhile, the Avalanche turned to a goalie change, searching for a spark, but couldn't slow the surge. Now the series tightens, and the Avs are on the hunt for answers. Can Colorado regroup and flip the script in Game 4? Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
Hey, it's Zach By here for 5280 Exteriors, your siding, windows, decking, and roofing specialist. During the month of May, 5280 Exteriors are offering you $1,000 off a new project. 5280 Exteriors, the altitude of quality.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. Let's talk about your hair. If you're losing it and desire it back, then do what I did and go see Dr. Tanya Pauls at Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can personally attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Pauls, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation today. Call 720-459-HAIR and you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. That's 720-459-HAIR. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver, and they've changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. Become inspired with the before and afters at advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com.
Dan Jacobs with the tale of two cousins. They were both in the same accident. One cousin said she didn't need a lawyer. And when the insurance company offered her $3,000 and said they would pay all of her medical bills, that cousin was very upset because she cashed that check. And when the medical bills kept coming in, the insurance company was long gone. The other cousin called 303-LAW-4040. She was offered $30,000. And when we said no way, the judge used scare tactics trying to get her to accept the lowball offer. That's where a lot of lawyers will try and get their clients to cave in, but not us. We said that's fine. will tell her story to a jury. Before we could even get up and walk out of the room, that case settled for $1.1 million. That cousin was very happy. The insurance companies work for their shareholders. At 303 Law 4040, we work for you. You don't have to feel guilty about asking for what's fair. We hope you never need us, but accidents do happen, so go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Thanks. Is oil marked down?
Save up to $15 when you buy 5 quarts and a filter.
And fuel treatment?
2 for $9 on Lucas.
Brake pads?
Marked down to free.
Free?
Get free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 Duralast rotors.
That's several markdowns.
For many more miles.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Join us at Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, our biggest trade event of the year, May 14th through the 16th. Trade in your RV and get the highest value guaranteed. Then upgrade for less with new RVs starting as low as $94 a month. Plus, take 25% off select maintenance services. Save up to 40% on camp-ready must-haves. And enter to win a new RV. Don't miss the Red, White, and New Trade event at your local Camping World, May 14th through the 16th. We'll see you there.
Your roof's the single most important part of your house. Snow and high winds can damage your roof. Don't trust your roof to any fly-by-night roofing companies. Call the professionals at Golden Spike for a free roof inspection and tell them you heard about it on The Fan. They're a locally owned company and a Team Dave Logan member.
Call Golden Spike Roofing when your roof needs a fix. 303-942-1386. Golden Spike Roofing.
Max HELOC can lower your bill significantly. Borrow $250,000 and have a payment option as low as $495 a month. We make it easy to save. Call now for a no-risk, no-obligation quote. U.S. Mortgages 303 low rate.
All loans subject to approval and change. License number 392126.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. Powered by Regen RX. It's The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay. Leading off with the big story of the day, here's The Drive with Zach By and Denver, Colorado's own Phillip Lindsay.
1 hour in the books. Quicker than a New York minute. Hanging out with you on a Monday, May 11th, as we are just about 3 hours from the puck dropping of Game 4, Avs and the Wild. We spent a big part of hour number 1 talking about that, and rightfully so. Pretty nervous heading into tonight. We shifted gears to the Nuggets. I want to get to Broncos here in just a second because we got a Bo Nix update, and we had some rookie minicamp stuff over the weekend. We'll save that for just a second because I just want to put a bow on the Nuggets conversation. So we were just talking about Josh Kroenke saying that I'm the chief cultural officer, which does, I think it was Dante who said it here behind the scenes. That sounds like someone at like the very end of the bench. It was like when DeAndre Jordan was here.
Yeah.
If he was like, "Hey, I'm the chief cultural officer. I'm a big vibes guy."
It's back in the 80s. Was it ML Carr that was waving the towel for the
Celtics
at the end of the bench?
Yes.
It's that guy.
No doubt. And but you're hearing it from the owner and the president of basketball, who is not around on a day-to-day basis. And within the self-contained answer, he's referring to culture as a day-to-day living, breathing organism. The contradiction, self-contained in that one response, for me, was kind of wild because I went back and watched the whole thing over again. I watched it all on Friday, but over the weekend, I watched the whole thing over again. And it was lengthy. It was like 47 minutes, I want to say. And there was a lot said. But one of the things that rubbed me the wrong way, in addition to, 3 or 4 things that I just didn't like, nothing that I'm like dying. But when he was asked, and I know we addressed this Friday, but I just watching it again over the weekend. When Josh was asked about what is the goal of the remaining of Jokic's prime, that is such a layup response that is awaiting.
Yes. Exactly.
Like ready baked. Like add water, stir. And my son, who's 7, he's got a little hoop in the basement, and we can like lower it, and he can like dunk on it and stuff. And so like I can hold the ball like right in front of the rim because he's not coordinated enough to like catch an alley-oop yet. But I can like hold the ball right in front of the rim where he can like jump and just grab it and dunk it, and he like acts like it's an alley-oop.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
That was the press conference version of that. I'm going to hold the ball here, bud. Right, come on. Get your steps right. It's right in front of the rim. All you have to do is grab the ball and dunk it right in there.
And he hit it off the front of the rim.
Yes, and it's like, well, what is the goal? And the first response was to win as many games possible.
That's not the goal.
And you're in a press conference after you won 54 games. Second most in franchise history, but couldn't get out of the first round, and that was the response. And I'm like, dude, it's like failing media day. It's like when Jamal said, basketball is just what I'm doing right now. I'm like, how do you like lose media day? That's really hard to do. How do you lose that question? It's right there on a platter. There's only one answer. And so that was, I thought, kind of eye-rolling looking back at it.
Well, because it tells you, at least if you take him at face value or take him at his word, if they win 60 games next year, which the organization has never done, and they get bounced in the first round, that was a successful season as they burn through another one of Jokic's prime years. Nobody believes that. If they believe it, it's laughable, right? Like they can't possibly believe that. So, yes, the goal needs to be to surround him with as good a cast as we possibly can to give us a chance to compete for as many titles as we can get. Something along those lines.
Some version of that.
That's it. And whether that's coaches, whether it's trainers, whether it's teammates, whatever it is, we want to give him every possible resource to win as many titles as we can. The greatest player in the history of the franchise. It would be a shame if we only win one. As a fan, that's what I'd like to hear.
Of course. And even if you fall short, but that's the intent of the organization and franchise, that's the mindset. You like, because I look back at Friday, watching it a second time, you would not know. Like, say you muted, they say 85% of body language is nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
If you just muted it and just watched the disposition and the back and forth, but you actually then listen to it and you're syncing up what's being said with the body language, it really wasn't that big of a deal what happened. That it came across that way. That like things aren't as bad as everyone thinks. Injuries, and if you took a shot every time you heard injuries, you're sideways by the end of it. Some version of that, and it's just like, man, fellas, like this was dramatic. This was the most dramatic and emasculating first-round exit in the history of the franchise, and it's hard to reconcile the tone from Adelman during the series, the tone from the players during the series in response to all this, and then the tone in the post-season press conference. It kind of all is under the same umbrella of tone.
He wasn't totally wrong. Like I will give him credit. Like I don't think things are as bad as we all think. Right? There's the recency bias of how painful it was, because how you just described that series is 100% true. And everybody, when they lost that Game 6, when it was basically Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle and a bunch of what felt like G League players.
Yeah.
They're not, but it felt like it. It wasn't a bunch of stars.
Right.
They're out 3 of their best players, and you lost that game. You lost by double digits and couldn't even get to triple figures. That was an embarrassing moment as a Nuggets fan. So that does kind of make you look at the whole thing as just a complete failure, which if your goal is to win a title, it was a complete failure.
You didn't come close. Those were Jokic's words.
So, but there are some good things. The fact that they won 54 games despite having a half a dozen guys miss at least a month. Okay, there's something here. If you want to try and build upon it, you can build upon it. But I also want to hear the owner say that this is unacceptable. I want the owner to be ticked about the way it turned out. I want the owner to be disappointed that they're not having a parade in June, and he didn't have any vacation planned for the next 2 weeks because he figured he'd be at a basketball game or at a practice every single day, and then he would be at a parade in a couple of months. That's what I want to hear, as opposed to like, you know what, there were some good things there. There were, but you were missing those other parts of what he needed to say. That was just totally missing of where was the anger? Where was the competitive spirit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have liked to hear, like, just some more of that. Just maybe some emotion. Like sports are emotional. And Adelman, at the start of the postseason or at the start of this series saying, we don't want to play with too much emotion. And then that rippled right through the series and through the postseason press conference. There was no and maybe I'm getting picky and maybe it's idealistic, but I was looking for a little bit more from a tone standpoint, a reflection of how bad what happened and the anger of the fan base. And we got none of that.
It reminded me, and I don't remember if it was 2012 or 2013. Was it after the Raheem Moore game or was it after they got blown out in Super Bowl 48? When John Elway and John Fox had their end of the season press conference and how ticked off Elway was. And you felt like he was going to fire John Fox during the press conference. Like, that's what I want to see. So you either, were the 1 seed and you lost in disappointing, heartbreaking fashion to the Ravens if it was that year. And this is off the top of my head, so I don't remember which of the two it was. Or it was you got to the Super Bowl. That's a pretty successful year, but you lost 43-8. And it was the guy who's in charge setting the tone of this is unacceptable. And then what did they do that offseason? After Super Bowl 48, they revamped that entire team and went from the greatest offense in the history of the league to a team 2 years later that was carried by their defense. It was, bringing in Aqib Talib and move after move after TJ Ward, all those guys, because Elway was ticked at how it turned out, and he went and did something about it. We didn't get that impression from Josh Kroenke.
No.
Not even close to it.
No, not even close. That's what, and like I said, I hope I'm not getting picky or too idealistic, but I don't think it was too much to ask that the tone of the entire thing that happened on Friday was a bit closer to a reflection of how the fan base feels and just how dramatic, that exit was. So,
well, we were all disappointed with the approach that Adelman had during the series and the approach that the players had.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of that same tenor. It was kind of that same approach.
That's what I'm saying. There's like a through line.
Yeah.
Like with all of it. And this is what I'm saying about the culture. It all goes back to the culture. The cultural needs the culture needs a shakeup in a meaningful way, and I don't think that's going to come from the cultural chief officer or the chief cultural officer.
I do think Josh Kroenke was being honest. I don't think he's upset with it. Would he have liked to have won? Sure. Do I think he lost a lot of sleep? Do I think he was ill over it? I don't. They had a very successful season. Sold out the building all the time, made a ton of money. We want to win and we want to make money, not necessarily in that order. That's the mantra. Okay, well, it was successful. They did win a lot of games. They went to the postseason again. They were the 3 seed. They sold out the building and made a lot of money. If you're just running it as a business, it was a very successful season. It was.
All right. We'll leave that where it lies. Bo Nix and the update that we got over the weekend from Sean Payton.
He's doing great. He'll be well ahead of time for training camp. I think there's a good chance we see him in this off-season program in June. We're going to be the ones kind of holding him back, if you will.
A little more from Sean.
The follow-up procedure was not a surprise. I was just talking to Bo. We had 5 other players that staged surgeries where there's a step, they evaluate, and then a second step. We had 5. He was the 6th that actually went through that. No surprises. We feel real good about where he's at.
All right. So there's our update. I don't think that we necessarily learned anything new per se. Maybe outside of, hey, well, we're going to have to be the ones, holding him back. I don't know if that counts as something new. What did you make of it?
I feel like I'm at a laundromat sitting in front of the washing machine just watching it on spin cycle. That just felt like a lot of spin.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact, and again, I'm not calling him a liar. I think everything he said is true. They probably did have 5 other guys who had, two parts of the procedure.
Sure.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure it's not that unusual. But when you go out of your way to have that stat at the ready, because he knew he was going to be asked about it, he had to know.
He actually did not wait for a question on it, addressed it off the top.
Okay.
To even more so.
So he had that prepared. You come out with that number. It just feels like you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard to make it sound like, oh, yeah, nothing to see here. We're not worried about it at all. We expected this. And then he goes on later to talk about how, I may be off by 10 days, maybe 2 weeks with my prediction of when he'd be ready. It's like, really? You didn't tell us, and you didn't even give us the impression at the end of the season press conferences.
Right.
That Bo Nix might have to have a second one if this one doesn't go well. It wasn't, hey, first surgery went well, or not first surgery. They wouldn't have said that. Surgery went well. We're excited to see how he goes through this process, and can't wait to get him back there. They were putting timelines on it.
Were,
like, hey, he's going to be out here for everything in the offseason.
Right, and it wasn't just Sean, and I think this is important. Like that came from the organization. 3 tiers: coach, general manager, and even Greg Penner, Broncos ownership, saying that Bo is going to be ready for the offseason. So honestly, this couple things here. One, we're making this way too hard. We're making this way harder than it is. And I know
we are or they are.
Well, both in this sense. They are, and they have a whole group of people parroting it and saying that this is all planned. Now, Broncos country, they're not going to all agree on the same thing at the same time, right? So there's a portion of the fan base who don't want bad news. Who want good news all the time. And if the team is saying that this was planned, then by God, it was planned. Okay? Now, I have eyes, ears, and an actively working brain. I remember Greg Penner and George Payton and Sean Payton saying he will be ready for the offseason program. And now he's not. So I have to tie half my brain behind my back to say everything is going according to plan, because I can't unhear the words that were said into microphones.
Correct.
This was not the plan. So I think that it's being, and here's the thing too, the Broncos have a job to do, right? So from a PR perspective, I, in some ways, get what they're saying, but it doesn't mean that I have to believe every single thing that comes out of Dove Valley.
But why do they have to try and convince us this was the plan? Like, do I think he's going to be ready for training camp? I do. I believe what Sean Payton said.
I think he's going to be ready as well.
So why do you have to make this sound like, oh, yeah, this was the plan all along? No, just like, hey, we had him go through the first surgery, saw how he recovered from it, decided to go in and clean up a little bit because we've got time. We've got months here. If he's on the field for mini camps or not on the field for mini camps, it's not the end of the world. He's going to be ready for training camp. All is good. Full steam ahead. Okay. Why do they have to try and convince us this was the plan all along?
Well,
if it was a setback, we'll panic, but who cares?
Right. So if I were to try to answer that in the way that you just asked it, what would be the intent of trying to reshape this messaging? They might be concerned as I am. And maybe just do not want to like come across as like they're pulling fire alarms, or so that you're recalibrating.
So they're just going to be an ostrich and put their head in the sand?
I'm trying to think of why they would. And I think from a public relations standpoint, I think there's something to be said where if there's no way of you and me knowing, telling us that there's nothing to see as opposed to there's something to see, there's not really a lot of downside from a PR perspective.
But it doesn't change anything.
I agree, James. I agree. But it's what you can control right now.
So if he's not out there the first day of training camp, I guess we didn't talk about it and worry about it for 3 months because they told us everything was fine and this was planned. He's still not out there on the first day.
Right. No,
what's the difference?
No, in reality and big picture, because this is going to unfold the way that it's going to unfold.
Correct.
Like through the weeks, through the months, and even through the years, which is what I want to get back to here in just a second. But what you can control right now, you can't control anything other than the messaging. And so if you don't control it, it's already the number one story of the Broncos offseason, right? There was no first-round draft pick, and yet Waddle, with all respect to Waddle, the Broncos quarterback missing the AFC Championship game and derailing a trip to the Super Bowl, and then another surgery on that same body part and change timelines. It's the biggest offseason, and people can say, oh, you're being dramatic, you're nothing to talk about. No. This is a big deal.
There's 2 stories. It's that and it's Davis Webb taking over play calling.
Sure.
That's the 2 big stories.
Sure.
And Bo Nix's health is a much bigger issue. Right? Because if he's not ready to go, this team goes from being a team that should win 11, 12 games. I think 14-3 was...
That was extreme.
You got to get everything to go your way to get to that. I think they're a legit 11, 12 win team. I think they're a legit AFC West championship contender again. I think they're a legit Super Bowl contender again with Bo Nix.
Yes.
Without him, they'll be lucky to win 5 or 6 games.
James, that's why it's a big deal. Because he's a big deal.
If Davis Webb doesn't work out, it's okay. You got a borderline Hall of Fame coach that can start calling plays again. it really isn't that big a deal if it doesn't work out. It'll be a story. We'll talk about it. He may be Jared Bednar, just eager to make the change, and first time he sees an opportunity, he jumps right in there. We'll see. But yes, the thing that impacts the season the most is Bo Nix's health. But again, I just don't understand the point of saying this was planned, because God forbid, what happens if he has another setback?
James, hold on. This is what I have been saying. And I want to make this crystal clear if I haven't already, which I have, but our audience is always changing. So let me just emphasize this again. There is this idea that there's nothing to see here because Bo's going to be ready for training camp. Like, wake me up when it's training camp. And I'm saying that's not the point, in my opinion. The point is, for me, that they've gone into this guy's ankles 5 different times before he turns 26 years old. And this is supposed to be a decade-long proposition, cooperation, marriage, however you would want to phrase it. So, whether he's ready for day 1 of training camp, whether he's ready for week 1, for me, is tertiary. It's about the big picture with Bo Nix. The Broncos, for the first time in a decade, found a franchise quarterback. And I have fear, especially considering his play style and who he's not in the pocket in dedicated fashion, if this could be in jeopardy at some point down the road, not week 1 of training camp or the season. I'm talking about week 13, going into the postseason, the first year after they give him $300 million, big picture, long-term concern, because typically this stuff happens to people as they get older. It has struck Bo when he has been very young and continued through his mid-20s, and I don't have any evidence that this is going to stop happening.
Well, especially the way he injured it, right?
It was innocuous.
Exactly. He basically just planted his foot to cut.
Yes.
It wasn't as though he got twisted up and it's like, hey, 320-pound guy rolls on your ankle.
It's
going to happen to everyone.
That's football.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right? The way that it happened, I think we're all going to be sort of on pins and needles all season long. I mean, they could be well on their way toward 14-3 again, the 1 seed again. They could win the playoff game. I'm not going to feel good until Monday morning rolls around and Sean's had all his press conferences and we know that Bo's good to go for the AFC title game. We're going to be constantly holding our breath to make sure, is Bo going to be able to play? The other part of this, of why I don't believe for a second this was planned, when this all went down, whether it was the night of the Bills win, when Sean came out and talked to the media, or at the end of the season when Sean talked to the media and ticked off Bo Nix, Sean said too much.
He did. Of course he did, yeah.
He said things he shouldn't have said. So if the plan was, hey, we're going to have a surgery, going to go in there, kind of see what's up, see how it recovers, and then fix what still needs to be fixed, I firmly believe Sean Payton would have said that. He couldn't help himself, it seemed like, in those 2 instances. They couldn't reel him back in of hey, here's the talking points, stick to this. I don't buy for a second that this was a plan. Doesn't mean that it's the end of the world that they had to go in and do it.
Nope.
But
just don't tell me it's the plan.
Nobody hinted. No doctor ever said. Most of these are kind of a 2-stage process.
No, but
nobody ever said that.
But what the surgeon did say was Bo's ankle was predisposed,
which the coach told us,
right?
Which he wasn't supposed to tell us.
He was freestyling. Sean and talking points don't go in the same sentence. But when Sean shared that is another thing that I just can't reconcile. It's the physical evidence of the number of surgeries, okay? It's uncommon for the same body part. But it's also the head coach quoting the surgeon, who, by the way, has done every surgery on Bo. It's not different surgeons. It's one. And that one surgeon told the Broncos that Bo's ankle was predisposed, and it wasn't a matter of if but when. And if I was Bo, I would have been hot too. Sean should have never said that. But it doesn't make it untrue either.
Right.
If the surgeon actually said that. And it was almost like a vibe of, hey, it's predisposed, it was just going to happen. That didn't make me feel better about it.
No.
What?
Not at all. The other part that worries me is the body part that it is, right? You played basketball. When you start rolling your ankle, it happens easier and easier and easier and easier.
Correct.
The other thing that's difficult is, how do you strengthen your ankle? There's some stuff you can do.
Yeah, there's stuff you can do.
But it's not like a shoulder or something like that where you're like, okay, we're going to build up this.
Right.
We're going to build up some of the muscles around it, do other things to help compensate. Your ankle kind of is your ankle, right? So the more you start having issues with it, I just feel like that's hard to get that ball going down that snowball going down the other side of the mountain.
Yeah.
It's heading in the wrong direction.
And then last thing, and I know I said this to Will at the tail end of last week, is Bo knew as soon as it happened. It was familiar.
He's been down this road before.
It was familiar.
He's mic'd up and he's telling his teammates, you're going to have to do it without me next week.
That's right. So all of it together, we can disagree on the spectrum of concern. Because I heard the guys talking about this morning. Mark said he was a 4 out of 10. Stokely said he was an 8. I'm an 8 as well.
As am I.
So we can disagree on where we fall within the spectrum. Just don't tell me there's nothing to see here. That's the one non-negotiable. Don't tell me there's nothing to see here.
I agree. And then the other part of it is, just to repeat it, I don't understand why they're telling us that. It doesn't make any sense. It feels like it has the potential to blow up in their face. We're just not telling us that. It's like, hey, we fully expect him to be back for training camp. Second surgery went well. Recovery's going well. See how he is come July. Okay, great. Move on. I don't understand why they're trying to put this spin on it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
All right, if you want to react to this in any way, shape, or form, you can hit us up on the RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. How are the playoffs shaping up around the Avs series, and what do we make of where the Nuggets should have been here in this round? We'll check in on these postseasons coming up next.
Summer is calling, and we're sending you to the lake in style. Download the Denver Sports app to enter our Day at the Lake contest for your chance to win everything you need for that perfect lake day. You get 2 paddle boards, 2 chairs, a cooler, pop-up tent, and Bluetooth speaker. Oh, and did we mention you also get a $250 gift card to fill up that cooler? Download the Denver Sports app now and enter today. We'll see you at the lake. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. Default terms at mintmobile.com.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
You know, I was talking with a friend the other day. Good job, good house, doing everything quote-unquote right, but still drowning in bills, groceries, gas, credit cards. It all added up. And she told me, I just don't see a way out. But she did have a way out. She called my friends at American Financing, and they're helping people just like her and just like you every single day. Imagine decluttering your monthly bills into one manageable payment. Their average customer saves $800 a month, and you may even delay 2 mortgage payments. And if you're refinancing, you may close in as fast as 10 days. Stop financing your past and start funding your future. Make your equity your exit strategy. If you're over 50 and still carrying credit card debt, you could be paying on that for the rest of your life, especially with interest rates over 20%. American Financing is a family-owned mortgage lender licensed in all 50 states with salary-based mortgage consultants, no upfront fees, and no obligations. So call them at 303-695-7000 or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Done right kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Our 8% scheduling incentive and bank financing to ask about. Make a great time to call 800-362-8370 or drhi.com.
Matthews Fine Watches and Jewelry buys, sells, and services pre-owned Rolex, Cartier, and all luxury Swiss watches. So if you're looking to make a change in your watch collection or just looking to sell, come to Matthews Fine Watches and Jewelry.
Matthews Fine Watches and Jewelry, located in the Highlands Ranch Town Center or online at MatthewsFineWatches.com.
Hi there, I'm Kim Rudell, owner of Wills and Wellness Estate Planning. Springtime has arrived, and it's a great time to get your house in order. Whether you need to tidy up your current will and estate plan, or you need to put together a brand new plan, we're here to help. Get yourself organized with documents that are customized to you and your family to provide priceless peace of mind. Find us at willsandwellness.com or give us a call at 720-266-8190.
For many of us, it's happened before. Your hair is thinning, crowns disappearing. Maybe the hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. The solution that worked for me, it's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if you want your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Paul's, it's not maybe your hair will regrow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
You can't always predict what's next, but you can be ready for it in a BMW SUV. The performance-driven X1 comes built for every journey, while the X3's sporty design and innovative technology keep your drive connected. The X5 blends performance with a commanding presence, or make it even bigger with 3 rows of luxurious seating in the X7. For every road, there's an X built to drive it. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Gebhardt BMW, your trusted family dealer since 1975.
Hey guys, it's Mark Schlereth. Nobody likes talking about this, but if you're a guy over 50 dealing with enlarged prostate, you need to know about PAE, prostate artery embolization. It's minimally invasive, done through a tiny pinhole, and you're back home the same day. Colorado Advanced Endovascular in Lakewood makes it easy. Top-tier interventional radiologist, a comfortable boutique atmosphere, and the kind of personalized care that's hard to come by. They serve the whole metro area. Go to coloradoae.com. That's coloradoae.com.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Denver at 720-637-9567, 720-637-9567. That's 720-637-9567. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationdenver.com.
Every day at 3:30, the drive comes off the top rope to hit you with a 1, 2, 3.
Finally, The Rock has come back to Denver.
Tape your wrists, stretch your spandex, and oil your hair. Here's Zach and Phil with today's 3 count on the drive.
All right, let's come off the top rope with it! All righty, we got James Merilatt filling in for Phillip Lindsay here on a Monday. Phil will be back next week. Montreal. Let's take a look at some of these just series around the Avs. I want to say around the Nuggets, and I can't even say, I almost want to say, like, oftentimes I'll make like the Goldilocks analogy. And I have in years past, like, it feels like someone's sleeping in your bed, eating your porridge, sitting in your rocking chair. But I can't even say that. I can't even say that Denver should be in the second round when you lose the way that you do. I can't do that analogy. The Nuggets are sitting home where they belong.
I kind of felt like that game 1 of Minnesota and San Antonio. I'm like, we should be watching the Nuggets tonight. How are we not watching? I really felt like it on the Saturday or whatever, the Sunday, whichever day it was, when it should have been Game 7. I felt like we got robbed of that. As I've watched Minnesota play the Spurs, though, I don't feel like the Nuggets would have put up that kind of battle.
I agree.
So I feel like the team that deserves to be here The right team is here.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm seeing just how physical this series has become between San Antonio and Minnesota. And for years I've heard, folks say, and I'm not even saying that you're wrong or anything, it's just a different mindset saying, man, basketball was better when it was in the 90s and it was, or the 80s, it was so physical, put you on your ass type stuff. And we're seeing that. If you enjoy that brand of basketball, we're seeing that. San Antonio Spurs, Minnesota Timberwolves is knockdown, drag out, the level of physicality that they're allowing these players to play with and play through. And if you want to see someone get elbowed in the face on purpose, you got that last night as well, too.
It is Minnesota's brand of basketball. It's why they give the Nuggets fits, because the Nuggets are a bit of a soft team. If they were a football team, you'd call them a finesse team. They just are. I mean, they number one offense in the league. They want to run up and down the court, put up 120. They don't want to play possession after possession after possession.
And
tough defense.
And then when the postseason started, couldn't get to 100 in 3 out of the 6
Yeah,
games.
exactly. So that's why they give the Nuggets fits. That's how they win. Look, I don't necessarily blame them. If the refs are going to let them get away with it, so be it. But, man, I hated the mid-'90s when the Pat Riley Knicks were good. That brand of basketball was so boring to watch. Anthony Mason and company,
oh, yeah.
They're scoring 78 points in playoff games. No thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a rock fight right now. So the Wolves tied that series with San Antonio 2-2 with no Wemby for most of it. The Knicks, holy smokes, that wasn't just a sweep of the Sixers. That was a deep clean of the 76ers.
144-114 in Game 4. You win by 30 on the road. Although, was it really a road game? Because the thing that I noticed the most was how the Knicks fans just took over in Philly.
I can't remember seeing that in a town like Philly.
Exactly. We've seen it here.
Right.
We certainly see it on 20th and Blake with no matter who comes in to take on the Rockies. But it felt like when the Cubs come here and you go down there and Coors Field is, Wrigley West or whatever they're calling it, they're serving old-style beer for crying out loud.
I know.
It sort
man.
of felt like that. You don't expect it in Philly. I actually expected the opposite when Joel Embiid came out and said, hey, don't sell your tickets, that Sixers fans would rally and be like, wouldn't matter what a Knicks fan offered me, I wouldn't give up my ticket. Nope, they were selling those things in droves.
Man, speaking of Philly.
1, 2.
Man, tough few days to be a Philadelphia sports fan. All right, so the Sixers get swept. They get cracked, okay? The Flyers get swept out of the second round of the playoffs. And if you just go game by game, May 2nd, Flyers lose 3-0 to the Hurricanes. May 4th, 76ers lose to the Knicks by 39. May 6th, 76ers lose to the Knicks there in Game 2. The 7th, Flyers lose to the Hurricanes 4-1. The 8th, the Knicks get trounce Philly again. The 9th, it just went like that for a near 2-week period, just bludgeoning.
We had one of those here the year the Nuggets lost to the Suns in 4.
Oh, my gosh, that's right.
And the only reason I remember it is because we happened to be on a family vacation, and so every night there was a Nuggets game or an Avs game. And every night for a week, we watched our team lose. It was just like, man, just not a single evening where you just got to feel a little bit good about your team. Just getting bludgeoned night after night after night. That's what happened to Philly fans.
Holy smokes. All right, next in the 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, so the Washington Wizards win the NBA draft lottery. So Washington finished with the worst record in the NBA this season. I don't know how much you get into this, but A.J. Debinsa, Darren Peterson, they're considered the 2 favorites to be the number 1 overall pick.
BYU and Kansas, right?
Yep, you're on it. I would take the kid from BYU, A.J. Debinsa. It feels like you're hearing basketball people who are specifically in that world refer to some of these guys like, is he potential all-star or is he a change-your-life guy? Like you draft Giannis, that's a change-your-life guy. You draft Jokic and you're Tim Connolly, that's a change-your-life guy.
Yeah.
I'm completely speculating because I am not some sort of draft expert, although I do watch these guys play in college. A.J. Debinsa seems like he could be a change-your-life guy. He is a bluest of the blue-chip prospects that we've seen here in recent memory. But it's not just those guys. This draft, the first 6-7 picks, looks to be like an absolutely loaded draft.
Yeah, I happened to watch the lottery yesterday, which why, I don't know. The Nuggets weren't involved with it. I had no rooting interest, just curiosity. It happened to be on, and they were talking about that. They said it was the deepest draft since 1996. So 30 years ago since it's been this deep.
And that was a Kobe draft.
Yep.
Paul Pierce draft.
And they had, the mock draft once the lottery had happened with the top 10. And they talked about how none of the players from Michigan were in the top 10. You'd be able to get some of those guys after that. That's how deep the draft is. A team that just rolled through the NCAA tournament. So, good for Washington. They won it. I do think they'll get the BYU kid will be a great player. But if you're going to win the lottery, you want to win it on a Wemby year. It doesn't feel like it's that kind of year. It feels like if you'd have been at 5, you're still going to get a really good player.
Yeah, literally 1/3 of the NBA was tanking for this class.
It's like having the number 1 pick in the NFL draft when there's not a great quarterback coming out.
Right.
Like it's fine, but you're going to end up taking Russell Maryland.
Well, there is D tackle, right? Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
There is a thought because of DeBance's connection to the state of Utah. Many think the Jazz will try, if not consider, trading up from number 2 to number 1 to have this sort of homegrown story, sort of like D Rose being drafted to the Bulls, LeBron being drafted to Cleveland, sort of that flavor, a version of that. I don't know if that's going to happen. You'd have to give up a lot to move from 2 to 1 in a way that most fans probably wouldn't think. It would be a fortune.
And Utah had a terrible record. That's why they had such a good chance to win the lottery. It's why they wound up at number 2. But they weren't as bad as their record would indicate because they were literally trying to lose basketball games.
They were.
They would be ahead after 3 quarters and then just bench everybody. They're the main reason why the NBA is changing the rules starting next year.
And I'm pretty sure they beat the Nuggets at one point doing this. I'm pretty sure. They took out Kyle Filipowski in the 4th quarter. The kid from Duke, he had 20 and 13.
Yeah.
They're like, you're playing too well, bud. We got to get you out of the lineup. I'm fascinated by it. I'll be plugged into this draft, and we'll have, I'm assuming, some stronger opinions the closer we get to it. All right, what is the number 1 thing that needs to change for the Avs between Game 3 and Game 4? We'll get to it next.
The Avalanche, the Wild. Round 2. This is where the real battle begins. Score! Every game gets bigger. Every hit gets harder. Every moment matters more. Our guys are in the locker room. Our shows are locked in on every matchup, every adjustment, and every shift in momentum. On your morning commute, on your lunch break, on your drive home. Our shows have you covered from puck drop to final buzzer and everything in between. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver's playoff headquarters.
Cecil Lammy here from my friends at SodaDietNutrition.com. Now, 5 years ago, I lost 60 pounds because of soda, and I'm never going back. I've never gained the weight back. I never will because SodaDietNutrition.com, they taught me how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat. It's simply magnificent. I want you to call them up, 866-800-SODA, where you can join soda for a short time to have results that last a lifetime. Soda weight loss is now SodaDietNutrition.com, and you've got to have these guys on your side because the weight loss journey, it can be tough. There can be struggles. Having a real nutritionist there available via text to help you out with any sort of questions, concerns, sometimes it's just straight up encouragement. It's SodaDietNutrition.com, and there's no mystery pills, mystery injections, any mystery chemicals you're putting in your body. You're doing it the right way. Learn how. Join the program. SodaDietNutrition.com, 866-800-SODA, because SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Mueller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
If you're considering sedation dentistry and want to learn more about it, Clarkson Dental can help. When it comes to your health, you want to make sure you know all the details. The highly trained professionals at Clarkson Dental have your answers. Learn more at coloradosedation.com.
If you're feeling exhausted with no sex drive, it may be time to head to Low T Center. Book a free testosterone test at Low T Center and see if you qualify for TRT, customized to you. Choose self-pay or insurance, and even have your treatment shipped to your door. Head to lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com to book your TRT appointment today.
Tired of or fearful of hearing no? Let us say yes. We can help you get your loan approved with our expanded guidelines, less than perfect credit okay, high debt to income ratios, and more. Call U.S. Mortgages at 303-LOW-RATE.
All loans subject to approval and change. License number 392126.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall. If you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's creoninfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
Attention. Groove Toyota has over 200 clearance-priced pre-owned vehicles starting at $29.95. Yes, under $3,000. One location, 1 week only, while supplies last. 50 vehicles priced under $15,000. Go to GrooveToyota.com. Don't wait. The Colorado clearance ends Saturday night. See all clearance-priced vehicles under $15,000 at GrooveToyota.com. Do not miss this sale while supplies last.
Example vehicle, pre-owned 2016 Chevrolet Traverse LS stock number GT1988428. Sale price $29.95. Price plus tax, title, license, and dealer fees.
When you've been hurt after a traumatic car crash, you don't need a sales pitch from an attorney with big promises and a loud voice. You need a team who fights for real results fast. That's why so many across the country choose the Berg Simpson Law Firm. Berg Simpson is nationally recognized, but is local right here in Colorado. So give us a call and let our team fight for the results you deserve today.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives.
For over a decade, Bluebird Windows and Doors of Denver's been servicing the Front Range with products built to withstand Colorado's unpredictable weather. Bluebird's Sunrise Collection windows are built to last a lifetime and are backed by strong warranties. Right now, buy 3, get 1 free through May. Mention you heard about Bluebird from me, Mike Evans. You'll save an additional 5%. Enjoy the outdoors through energy-efficient Bluebird windows. Visit gobluebirdco.com. Bluebird Windows and Doors. Make today a Bluebird day.
Landscape your yard with 100% natural Permagreen shredded red cedar or Permagreen gorilla hair. These products aren't dyed or treated, so you can safely use them anywhere in your yard. Buy these and other Permagreen products wherever better things are sold.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan's brought to you by Williams Jewelers, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche.
Want to partake in our contests? Check out the rules at DenverSports.com. Stream Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Dover and Cecil, The Drive, and all your favorite shows on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan app. Powered by Advanced Tax Solutions. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. It's The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
What's the number one thing that needs to change for the Avs between Game 3 and Game 4? Man, oh man, what a complete no-show on Saturday night. That was so depressing and disappointing. And we had a crazy day on Saturday, like crazy. Haircuts, baseball practice, football game, but it's all pointing towards, man, 7 o'clock. We are in front of that TV.
Yeah.
Cocktail in hand, bets punched in, I told my son, I'm going to let you stay up for 2 of the 3 periods.
Yep.
Ended up letting him stay up for all of it, as it turns. But, man, that was just a huge collective, wholesale letdown from these Avs.
And it wasn't just that they lost. That would have been disappointing. but like it was never entertaining.
No.
You're right. Like you plan your Saturday night around it. All right, it's game 3. You know, you're excited about it, and it just was a bummer from the jump. And I do think what we saw from the Nuggets, though, is influencing us as fans on, at least me, on how upset I was by that effort. Because you asked what's the number one thing that has to change. I think it's effort.
Yeah.
They just didn't seem interested in playing. They couldn't match the urgency that the Wild had. The Wild were desperate, so you can't manufacture desperation, but you can still come out there with a sense of urgency of like, hey, we don't want to let these guys back in the series.
Right.
We don't want to let them up off the mat. And so that's, to me, what has to change. Has to be effort from the jump.
And what was so disappointing, not to cut you off, James, but like to a man after the game, they all said that they knew Minnesota was coming in with that determined sort of intensity.
Yeah.
So to know that, say it into microphones that you knew was coming and still have that approach, wildly disappointing. Sorry.
No. But I do think what we just witnessed from the Nuggets, and, I think they lost that series against Minnesota because of they didn't seem to have any urgency. They didn't have any toughness. They were soft. They didn't, answer the bell and weren't ready for the moments or whatever cliches we want to use.
Yeah.
So then when you see the Avs come out and have that same kind of performance, it does cause you to panic a little bit.
Sure.
And both of these teams have been wildly talented for essentially a decade. And both of these teams, for the most part, because I don't count the bubble, for the most part, have had one run where they got beyond the first or second round. Not for the most part with the Avs. That's actually the fact.
Yeah, it's literal, yeah.
And so you start to wonder, like, yeah, they got great players, but do they have championship metal? And I think we all look at the Nuggets now. It's why everybody wants to blow them up. Nope, there's not enough guys on that team, if any, despite the fact that some of them have rings, that have championship metal. That's the kind of game from the Avs. And if they have another stinker tonight, I'm going to start asking those questions about Nathan McKinnon, about Cale Makar. A Conn Smythe winner, I get it. But that was the kind of effort you see from a team that just doesn't understand what it takes to win a title.
And that was what was so disappointing, because I was doing the show on Friday with Will talking about, hey, these guys, McKinnon and Gabe specifically, the two leaders of the team, they've gone through a sequence where you swept in the first round, you're up 2-0 in the second round, and you lose. And you were Stanley Cup favorites before the postseason started, and you were heavy favorites being up 2-0 in the second round, and I watched them lose 4 straight to Vegas. And I'm like, there's no way this group, they may lose tonight. And in fact, I picked the Avs to lose on Saturday night in our final segment doing predictions on Friday. But I said what you're not going to see is you're not going to see the approach that we ultimately saw, because they've learned their lessons. They can look at their compadres and saying, I've been here. Gabe, you remember when we were here? It'd probably be the opposite. It'd be like Gabe talking like, Nate, you remember when we were here up 2-0, 2021, and we lose? We are not going to let that happen. These guys are coming with full force. This is a kitchen sink game for them. Everything that they have, we're going to see it here tonight. We're going to feel it here tonight. And to watch the approach border on immature was very disappointing. And I know there's someone out there right now saying, they were just 6-0. They just lost their first playoff game. Man, these things can turn in a hurry.
Yep.
And so I'm just, look, maybe if they had the right approach, they still lose on Saturday night. But, man, a couple things were accomplished for Minnesota. They chased Scott Wedgwood out of the goal. Chase in air quotes. Maybe it shouldn't have happened. We'll talk about it here in just a second. But they also gained confidence, and they drew blood. They didn't just win. They pounded Colorado 5-1. And maybe that'll make it easier to throw it away for Jared Bednar and his group that, man, this was a total anomaly. But again, I've just lived through this sequence in this same chair into the same microphone saying the Avs are good, and watched them lose with the exact same setup that they went into Game 3 on Saturday night with.
It's not that they lost, right? Like it's the way they lost. You lose that game 3-2 in overtime. It's a hard-fought game. The Avs came out ready to go. But you know what? Minnesota was desperate, and they got a couple of bounces, and they stayed alive. But it would feel like they stayed alive. Now, you're right. It's the confidence thing, right? Like, you gave them life. They're up off the mat. They know they win tonight. They're very much in this series. And not only that, but the Avs kind of had this aura about them. Like, oh my God, they're the President's Trophy winner. We were talking about they may go 16-0. You're seeing, the Pat McAfee talking about what a wagon they are, right? Like, they're getting national attention.
Yeah.
And then you go out and dominate that team. Minnesota now, I don't think they have questions about whether or not they can compete with the Avs anymore. I don't. And I do think even if they'd have won a game where it's like, hey, we know we got a little lucky to win that one. The Avs were a better team. They outshot us, whatever to whatever, but we got a couple of good bounces. That ain't the way they're coming out of it. They're coming out of it knowing, hey, when we play our best hockey, we can beat the brakes off that team.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened.
And now we have changing dynamics that we'll get to here in about 10 seconds. But first, summer's calling. We're sending you to the lake in style. Download the Denver Sports app to enter our Day at the Lake contest for your chance to win everything you need for that perfect lake day. Here's what you get. 2 paddle boards, 2 chairs, a cooler, a pop-up tent, a Bluetooth speaker, and $250 on a gift card to help you fill up that cooler. Download the Denver Sports app now and enter today. Hopefully these Avs are not hanging out on a lake here in 2 weeks. Hopefully they're still skating on something that resembles a frozen lake in the Western Conference Finals. But Jared Bednar has made a change, and I think we're going to see it tonight. Is he overreacting or making the right call when it comes to who is starting in net? We'll get to that next.
You asked for it, you got it. Backed by popular demand, it's the Drives Brouhaha.
Big social brouhaha.
This spring, Zach and Phil are back on the road, bringing their party to you. First stop, the Golden Triangle in Denver. May 22nd from 2 to 6 at Schoolyard Beer Garden.
There was quite a brouhaha.
Come find out what the commotion's all about. Head to DenverSports.com/drive for more details.
Guaranteed to bring the brouhaha.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com. Or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Performance matters in intimate moments. Don't let ED ruin them. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and I want to assure you that if you're like the vast majority of guys, you don't have to suffer with ED anymore. In fact, you might be pleasantly surprised at how the right treatments could positively impact your love life. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, our advanced medical therapies go far beyond pills. We have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, and we offer specific and combinative treatments that can dramatically enhance both your performance and your stamina. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a far greater level of intimacy to both you and the one you love, perhaps performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and find out why our advanced treatment strategies offer so much more. Your first visit is just $99 and gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, advanced medical science to improve men's lives.
A buddy of mine told me he was tired of the constant juggling, paying one bill late just so he could cover another. He said it felt like he was always robbing Peter to pay Paul. And honestly, a lot of people are in that same spot right now. Everything costs more, and it feels like there's no breathing room. But he's a homeowner, and that meant he did have options. He called my friends at American Financing. They're helping people just like him every day. No judgment, just real guidance. They look at your whole financial picture, not just your credit card debt. Their average customer saves $800 a month, and you may even delay 2 mortgage payments. And if you're refinancing, you may close in as fast as 10 days. Imagine decluttering your bills into one manageable payment and freeing up cash flow for the things that actually matter. Stop financing your past and start funding your future. Make your equity your exit strategy. American Financing is a family-owned mortgage lender licensed in all 50 states with salary-based mortgage consultants, no upfront fees, and no obligation. So call them at 303-695-7000 or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
It's a hot spot on your dog's leg. But the internet says you can treat it at home. You're not sure though, 'cause now it's oozing.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Ooh, he's licking it. Super gross, dude.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we know you're no stranger to setting big goals, whether in school, at work, or in life. And you're ready for more. At UMGC, we offer the skills-based education you need to move your career forward. Learn how to apply AI, data science, and other emerging tech. Plus, gain skills in leadership and critical thinking. You've come far. Succeed again. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. Powered by Regen RX. It's The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay.
Is Jared Bednar overreacting or making the right call when it comes to who is starting in net tonight? James Barrellat filling in for Phillip Lindsay once again as we're rolling downhill here on a Monday, just about 2 hours from the puck dropping on a massively important game number 4. The Avs are either coming home with the series tied and all the momentum being taken back towards Minnesota in this series, or they're coming home with the Wild in a 3-1 vice grip. Those seem, from where we were heading off the air on Friday, two extremes, right? And I know that's the natural order of the series, but it feels like it could be extreme if they lose here tonight. So Bednar pulls Scott Wedgwood, right, after 3 goals. I didn't have a huge issue with it. But then we get the update today. Now, there was speculation already. Could they go with Blackwood? And I was like, in the conversations that I was having with my buddies, that's a one-off. You're going with Scott Wedgwood here.
That's what everybody told me in my mentions on Twitter, because I said, oh, now we got a controversy. That was the issue I had with it. It was looking ahead, and here's the conversation that's going to happen.
So you tweet, I didn't see that. So you put that out there.
Yeah, and he's going with Wedgie. It'll be Wedgwood, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, we'll see. And now here we are, less than 48 hours later, and the Avs are making a goalie change despite being 6-1 in the postseason. Now, is he overreacting? Is he doing the right thing? I don't think he's doing either. I don't think he's overreacting. I just think he's doing what he wanted to do all along. He finally got an excuse to do it. I don't think it's the right thing, so that's not my answer. I don't think he's overreacting because I don't think he's like, oh, man, we got to go somewhere else. We got to get a spark or whatever else the case may be. I think he was always looking for a reason to go with Blackwood. He finally found it, and now he's got his guy between the pipes. That's what I think's happening.
And so if you haven't heard, it was Mackenzie Blackwood who was in the traditional starter's net this morning at morning skate. And this is Bednar after the game talking about why he pulled Scott Wedgwood.
I thought Wedgie was playing hard. I think maybe he looked a little too aggressive on a couple of those. Like the penalty kill, there was ends up without a stick, getting aggressive coming across, and then they find the back of the net. The next one, gets a piece of taser. I think it's a pass, and it ends up in empty net. He's out too far, and I just felt like from what I've seen out of Blackwood here recently, and arrested guy.
A little bit more from Bednar?
Just felt like they had all the momentum and all the steam early in that game, and we needed to do something. We needed to do something to kind of get our guys fired up and going, and was hoping that would be part of it.
All right, so it wasn't. That was the hope, but it wasn't. Just being real, I have no issue with pulling Scott Wedgwood. I wouldn't have done it in that exact setup, but I'm not the coach. I trust Jared Bednar. He's got his fingers on the pulse of what's going on, looking for a spark. I got it. But then to turn around and start Blackwood. Now, if that's what happens, now I think that's going to happen. This was Bednar from just a couple hours ago when asked after morning skate today, will Blackwood get the start?
Yeah, we'll see. Possibly. Yeah, I don't answer hypothetically.
Well, him seeing some pucks last game and not being totally full. You hasn't played a game in a month or whatever. Like, how beneficial is that?
Well, I mean, he's looked sharp for us. Like, I really liked his practices and the time that he spent on the ice with UC. We're getting good reports, and like I said at the start of the playoffs, we're probably going to need both guys, and it's how we ran all year, and we have confidence in both guys, and I think McKenzie's ready to play, even if he wants a net.
I love me some Jared Bednar, and we've disagreed, you and I, on Jared Bednar for years now. But I'll be damned if he is not opening up a can of worms here between the pipes.
Yeah, I mean, look, it could turn out to be a stroke of genius, right? Blackwood goes out there tonight, plays great. The Avs win. They're up 3-1, and now I guess you just ride the hot hand, and Blackwood would stay in net until something maybe happens down the road where he has to get pulled. But I just feel like he's opening a can of worms, where what do you do if Mackenzie Blackwood plays poorly tonight? Can you go back to Scott Wedgwood? When we were doing the crosstalk, Jake Shapiro was sitting right in this seat and said, oh, yeah, you could do that. He's been in this situation before. And I know what he meant of he's a career backup. He's used to getting yanked and then going back in there down the road. He's not really used to being the night in, night out guy. But you pushed back, and I think you were on the money. He's never been in this position in postseason.
Never.
It's different doing it on a Tuesday night in February versus you got yanked from a playoff game.
Right.
Which does kind of scapegoat you. And I understand what Jared Bednar was trying to do. You can't bench everybody else. That's kind of the one move you can make in the game to send a message to your team.
I understood it.
I did too. But it also made it sound like, or it made it look like it was Wedgwood's fault. And they were power play goal, a 4-on-3, a 4-on-4. He lost his stick on one play. Was he being overly aggressive when he lost his stick? Maybe. I mean, Jared Bednar's going to know that answer a heck of a lot better than I'm going to know that answer. But I also tend to look at whatever sport you're playing. Give me the guy who's being overly aggressive than the guy who's being passive. I mean, not to keep bringing up the Nuggets, but we would have taken a lot of players on the Nuggets being overly aggressive in the Timberwolves series.
Sure.
That seems like a pretty easy thing to dial back. Hey, maybe in this situation, we got to do this, we got to do that. It just tells me what I've been telling everybody all along of why I don't like this situation and why goaltending was my number one concern. Not that it was a huge concern, but something has to be at the top of the list, just by default, is that it told me they don't truly have a number one goaltender. If it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, who's going to be in net? The Avs can't answer that question. Every other team, I feel like that's a legit Stanley Cup contender this year and most years could answer that question barring an injury.
Yeah.
And the Avs can't. That's a concern.
James,
it just is.
I don't know who's starting Game 5, let alone Game 7.
Exactly.
And this is why it can be a slippery slope here. And and I know my man Jake was like, well, they won it, with this setup in 2022, they played 2 goals. I'm like, that's because one got a stick to the eye and literally almost lost his eyeball. You don't choose this. You're dealt this hand. And it didn't feel like the Avs were dealt enough here to make a massive change in the middle of the second round. Because here's the thing, and I would like to believe that it works like this in life. Like, if I Well, just a silly example, right? If I'm on time for work every single day for years, right? 99 times out of 100, I'm on time. But there's one time that I'm 40 minutes late. I would like to think that other people would believe something happened here.
They're sending out a search party.
There's something at play here.
Yeah.
He has earned the benefit of the doubt based on his previous resume in that department. Scott Wedgwood was just the starting goaltender for a team that was the number one team in the league, who led the NHL in save percentage, led the NHL in goals against, gave up 2 total even strength 5-on-5 goals in the entire first round, and was awesome in games 1 and game 2. It was a collective wholesale failure on the part of the Avalanche, everyone, okay, that he is kind of the face of in that moment, and I understood it, like I said, but then parlaying that instance where everyone was the worst version of themselves on Saturday night, and that's what leads to the goaltender change. Scott Wedgwood, in my opinion, has built up enough equity here to outlast Saturday night. There's enough there to draw from. It feels like a bit of an overreaction. It could be a stroke of genius. Maybe Blackwood, pitches a shutout tonight, and we're coming in here talking about, man, this dude knows the temperature of his team and pushing the right buttons. But if it doesn't go that way and the Avs lose and the series is tied 2-2, what you do beyond Game 4, it's this could get tricky in a hurry.
Now, in Jared Bednar's defense, Scott Wedgwood has given up 11 goals already in this series, right? 6 and then 2 and then the 3 the other night.
Mm-hmm.
So while I don't think what happened the other night was enough for him to get yanked, maybe it was the cumulative effect of that's 11 times they've gotten one past you in 2 and a not quite a half a game. What were they? What did he get? Where was he? Where were they at in the game when he got yanked? It was in the second period.
Yeah.
Right. So almost halfway through the game. So in 2.5 games, he's given up 11 goals. That's a disturbing trend, but it goes back to well before this. There was a reason Jared Bednar wouldn't declare Scott Wedgwood the number one goaltender. And it wasn't because he wanted to give himself, well, maybe it was that he wanted to give himself these options. I just don't understand why you'd want to do that. Why would you, as a head coach, want to be in a position where night in, night out, you were trying to throw a dart and guess who was going to be the hot hand? I would much rather have a guy that, I like the backup, and if we need to go to him because our goaltender gets a stick in the eye and we have to play him for a few games here, we feel confident in him and we think that his teammates will rally around him. That's the other thing when you go back to the Cup run. When Darcy Kemper, he has to miss some games because he gets the stick in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's the backup. Everybody knows it's the backup. The team kind of rallies around him. You're not going to have that sort of emotional thing with the Avs tonight. It's like, well, I guess we're giving this guy a shot. It just feels off to me, but there's a reason why he wouldn't name him that. And everybody wanted to tell me, he led the league in this stat, and he led the league in that stat, and he got robbed of being a Vezina Trophy finalist. Well, the head coach didn't believe that. Otherwise, he would have, if he truly thought he should have been a Vezina finalist, he'd name him the number one goaltender. He just would have. And now here we are after one loss. They've lost one game in the playoffs.
God, it's a can of worms here.
And we have a goaltender controversy.
Ugh.
And people who don't want to use the word controversy, I think there's a debate to be made that he shouldn't make the switch, so therefore it is a controversy. He should have gone back to Scott Wedgwood. And maybe you have a really quick hook tonight if you need it, but I think that's what you should have done. It's the consistency, right? It's just the continuity of it. And instead, he's making the switch. I'll tell you what, if it doesn't go well, you don't think it's a controversy now, that's fine. I'm getting a lot of that.
Sure.
But if it doesn't go well tonight for Mackenzie Blackwood, there certainly will be a controversy at that point.
All right, we'll see what happens a little bit later tonight. We'll do a full-blown preview at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock. I'm a little bit nervous heading into this game here tonight, and
Makes two of us.
We'll continue to examine the layers of everything at play. All right, the Nuggets have a big-picture problem if what was said on Friday is actually true. We'll talk about why next.
Game 3 didn't go Colorado's way. Minnesota cashed in where it counts, dominating on special teams and swinging the momentum in their favor on home ice. Power play chances, penalty kills, the Wild made theirs matter. Meanwhile, the Avalanche turned to a goalie change, searching for a spark, but couldn't slow the surge. Now the series tightens, and the Avs are on the hunt for answers. Can Colorado regroup and flip the script in Game 4? Denver Sports 1043 The Fan. Denver's playoff headquarters.
What is going on, guys? Phillip Lindsay here. And I know there's at least 50 of you listening to me right now who are thinking about popping the question this year. And if that's the case, then you know you need a diamond. So let me save you some time and money by telling you something as simple as this. Whether you're starting your next chapter with your perfect diamond engagement ring, or celebrating a new milestone, or finally just doing something special for yourself for once, because everybody deserves to be spoiled in their life at least one time, this is where it's all going to begin for you. Close your eyes and imagine the finest jewelry legends all in one store together, making you feel just like family, and their surface is going to reflect that, because that's exactly what Williams Jewelers is going to do for you. Come shop the finest loose diamonds in Denver. They have every size, shape, and price range you can imagine, and the largest selection of engagement ring settings I've ever set eyes on. And not only are they going to share the secrets of the business with you, but they're going to give you the best price in Colorado, guaranteed. So why wouldn't you want to create moments and memories for yourself and the ones you love by going to Williams Jewelers, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche, Denver's first family of fine jewelers, located in Cherry Creek North on 3rd Avenue, and also in Inglewood at Broadway and Bellevue. And don't forget to mention my name, Phillip Lindsay, when you step through one of those doors.
I'm Corey Rose, anchor at 9 News and proud mama who enjoys taking my kids mountain biking at Winter Park. I love preparing you for the day ahead with the latest headlines. Whether it's tackling safety in our kids' schools or covering breaking news, from Aurora to Lakewood and everywhere in between, we've got you covered. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to Colorado's #1 streaming newscast. Make the move to 9 News Mornings. Live starting at 4:30 anywhere you watch.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zach By here for 5280 Exteriors, your siding, windows, decking, and roofing specialist. During the month of May, 5280 Exteriors are offering you $1,000 off a new project. They also offer finance plans that come with no payments for 2 years. 5280 Exteriors is a locally owned company that has been in business for 20 years and knows the Colorado climate. They are a 2024 and 2025 James Hardy President's Club winner. 5280 Exteriors, the altitude of quality.
Over his Hall of Fame career, Terrell Davis racked up impressive numbers. 65 touchdowns, 2 championships, almost 8,000 rushing.
That's why I bank at Colorado Credit Union.
That's a weird segue.
Colorado Credit Union treats me like a person, not a number.
With personal service, great rates, and smart financial advice.
And those are just 3 great perks.
We can stop with the numbers now.
You don't have to be a legend to bank like one at Colorado Credit Union. Visit ccu.org. Terms and restrictions apply. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Stoke here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Are you in the market for a new air conditioner? Well, hold on. You need to think about a heat pump. My team at ROX are Colorado's heat pump experts and rebate specialists. Get up to $12,000 in energy rebates and credits. These savings are incredible, but they're only available for a limited time. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair, ROX, rocks, heating and air.
I'm Rob Wilhite, and for nearly 50 years, my firm has been fighting for seriously injured car accident victims in Colorado. Serious accidents demand serious representation. We dig into every detail of your case, and we don't back down until we get you the maximum compensation you deserve. If you or someone you love has been seriously injured in a car accident, call the Wilhite Law Firm today at 303-GOOD-LAW or visit WilhiteWins.com. That's 303-GOOD-LAW or visit WilhiteWins.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Spring is here, but if you're feeling exhausted with no energy and no sex drive, it may be time to head to Low T Center. 1 in 4 men has low testosterone. At Low T Center, you can book a free testosterone test and see if you qualify for TRT customized to your body by expert providers. Choose self-pay or insurance. You can even have your treatment shipped to your door. Low T Center's got the highest quality testosterone, and their providers tailor it to you, so you know it's effective. Put the spring back in your step. Head to lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com to book your TRT appointment today.
Want real Broncos talk? Cecil Lammy and Andrew Mason bring the heat on Orange and Blue Today. The most passionate intelligence and in-depth Broncos coverage in the game. Weekdays at 5 p.m. on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Hit subscribe at Denver Sports 104.3 and never miss another take. Orange and Blue Today, powered by Ramos Law, official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. You're listening to The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
All right, the Nuggets have a big picture problem. If what was said on Friday is actually true. So the season-ending press conference on Friday, less than inspiring. I mean, we can just kind of agree there.
For sure. It didn't instill confidence that they're going to get it right this offseason.
No, definitely not. I went back and watched it over the weekend, and I watched it in its entirety on Friday, but just, letting the dust settle, seeing it because it was long. There was so much that was said. James, it was a 47-minute press conference with 4 different principals within the organization. So I wanted to just go and saturate myself with it, watch it for a second time. I'll do this with games, especially with Broncos. And, man, one of the things that stood out that I really did not like, and I can promise you, I didn't wake up on Friday morning like, okay, today at 11 o'clock, I'm going to look for things to crush Josh Kroenke on. That's just not what happened. It was this time last year where I was very complimentary of Josh Kroenke's press conference. And so this time around, just a little bit different of a tune. But one of my least favorite intersections within that press conference on Friday that went nearly an hour was Josh Kroenke saying this.
From my perspective, as I move between teams, and I said this to our group last year when we made the changes that we did, if there's a title or a responsibility that I guess I would give myself that I take very seriously, it would be our chief culture officer. I want to understand the humans behind what's going on with our teams, and I think that's where you get a real read of how competitive that we're going to be. I think that there's times where the culture of a group of people is a very living, breathing thing. I've heard it described in different ways by some really intelligent people over the years. Some in sports, some out of sports. How it's it requires a daily maintenance. I've watched the Nuggets culture come out of the ground. I've watched the Avalanche culture come out of the ground, and both have championship cultures in their own way. And the Denver Nuggets culture, without a doubt, over the last 12 months, it's evolved. And there have been some, as it has evolved, there have been, just like any kind of organism, as you evolve into a different place, there might be a hole that emerges you didn't expect. And so I think that while I was frustrated by a few things, I also understood a few things more about the people that are involved, and we're going to look to try to address that this summer.
All right, so there was a lot there in that 1 minute and 14-second response. But here's how I'll just summarize my thoughts and why it bothered me. One, calling yourself the chief cultural officer sounds like something DeAndre Jordan would have said at the end of the bench a couple years ago.
Yeah.
As he's getting candy and he's a vibes guy.
Yeah, he's waving the towel.
Right. It's kind of wild that during that response, the more that I thought about it, he's referring to his own self as the cultural setter and then refers to that culture as a living, breathing organization that needs to be managed on a daily basis with the understanding, the part that makes it wild, with the understanding that Josh Kroenke is the farthest thing from being around on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And the fact that I just stepped back and I was, I didn't like it on Friday, but when I stepped back and listened to it again, and the fact that self-contained within that response, he's talking about the day-to-day maintenance and he's the one to do it when you are not around every day. And I'm not saying he has to be, but you can't be not around and say you're the leader of the culture. Those two things do not go together, James.
No, because you know who's going to set the culture? Someone who is around every day.
Correct.
He's 100% right that it requires daily maintenance.
Definitely.
That is the way it is. But you can't establish the culture at your household if you're working on an oil rig out in the Gulf for 2 months.
Nope.
And then you parachute in for a weekend, see the kids, and then you're out of town again for another 2 months.
That's right.
Might be the reality of your situation. Doesn't make you a deadbeat dad.
Nope.
But you're not establishing the culture in that household. Your wife is, if she's there every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, the kids might be at some point.
Correct.
The tail starts wagging the dog.
Correct.
So I think someone is going to set the culture in any organization, any type of group, and it is someone who is there influencing it every single day. The reason Greg Penner has changed the culture around the Broncos?
Definitely.
He's there every day.
Literally ever present. I've talked about it for 2-3 years now. He hasn't missed a training camp practice.
Yeah.
He's in every war room shot in the draft. He's there ever present. So, yeah, someone like that, the culture has changed over there. Has Sean Payton had a lot to do with it? For sure. But it started with Greg Penner. So I did not – it's so it was such a flimsy part of the press conference on Friday that – and I hope that that's not actually what he believes, because when you're running all these different teams and you're just there on a game-to-game basis for the playoffs and maybe, 8 other games during the regular season, I hope that that's not what he genuinely believes to be true. Because if that is true, if that is authentically true, the Denver Nuggets are in even bigger trouble than I already think that they are.
Well, I think he does believe it, but I want to hope he misspoke a little bit. And I think given the fact that he's bouncing back and forth, he's over in England with the Arsenal and, he's in LA with the Rams. And they got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So if you really do want to set the culture as the owner, but you're not going to be here all the time, then you set the culture by hiring the right head coach who's there every single day, setting the culture you want. That's how you do it. My hope is that's what he meant, that I like the culture that David Adelman's established here. And so, therefore, that's why I'm keeping him as the head coach, because he's embodying what I want. If I was here every single day, if I could be here every single day, this is the culture I would want to create. Because I can't be, I'm going to instill someone that will be here every day that will do what I, of the things I would do if I was here.
Sure.
De facto, right? And that's what I'm hoping he meant. Now, I think he's...
he literally referred to himself as the chief cultural officer. Do you think he's talking about someone else truly?
But he's in the C level, right? You're picking your people. You got to make the right hires.
That's just not what he said.
It's the only thing that would make it make sense to me.
Yeah.
Is if that's what he actually meant. Because how do you say it requires daily maintenance and no, you're not here most of the time? And I've been critical of that fact for a long time.
You have.
And people push back on it, and that's fine. But I think it's vitally important that the owner of the team is around the team. Now, you can be overly involved. You can be Jerry Jones, and Greg Penner isn't that. Yeah, he's in the war room, but he's not making picks.
Right.
He's not making trades. He hires people who know more about football than him to do those things. But he's there, and he knows what's going on. Just a year ago, Josh Kroenke didn't know about the rift between
I know.
Mike Malone and Calvin Booth.
But how did he not know?
Because he's not here.
That's right.
So
That's right.
And if he just said, hey, I wasn't here, I want to be the chief culture officer, I know that requires daily maintenance. And then in the last 12 months,
but that's
he
what
was
I'm
there
saying.
every year or every day?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, because he's referencing what he told the guys last year. But we're here a year later. Josh wasn't around through the regular season.
It was news when he showed up at Game 5.
I know.
It was news when the owner came to a playoff game. It's not news when Greg Penner shows up at a game.
No, it's news when he's not there.
Yeah, it'd be breaking news. It'd be all points bulletin. Where is he?
Yeah,
send out the search committee. Yeah, that one made no sense. And it was they spent a lot of time in that 47 minutes trying to justify the things they're doing, and they just don't add up.
No, they don't. Okay, over the weekend we did get our first look at the new Broncos running back. We'll take a look at and hear from Jonah Coleman next.
Game 3 didn't go Colorado's way. Minnesota cashed in where it counts, dominating on special teams and swinging the momentum in their favor on home ice. Power play chances, penalty kills, the Wild made theirs matter. Meanwhile, the Avalanche turned to a goalie change, searching for a spark, but couldn't slow the surge. Now the series tightens, and the Avs are on the hunt for answers. Can Colorado regroup and flip the script in Game 4? Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Neil, founder of Clay Room. When I found ceramics, I realized my calling was to give others the space to be creative. So I set out to open my own studio. Having a Chase Ink card has allowed us to grow it and bring people together. Now we're molding a creative community.
With the Chase Ink Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Are you looking for the perfect engagement ring? Hi, I'm Scott Matthew with Matthew's Fine Watches and Jewelry. We have a great selection to choose from. If you're looking for that one-of-a-kind custom ring, our associates will take the time with you to design that ring that she will love, and her friends will go crazy over. At Matthews, when you purchase your ring and Centerstone, you'll receive 20% off your wedding bands. Make the right choice. Come to Matthews and save.
Matthews Fine Watches and Jewelry, located in the Highlands Ranch Town Center or online at MatthewsFineWatches.com.
So this is Todd Whalen. I'm here with Deanna, an Advanced Tax Solutions client. How did Advanced Tax Solutions fix your problem?
They solved the tax years where I had made errors. They filed the years that I was delinquent in, and they helped me make a payment plan with the IRS.
How does it feel now that the problem is fixed?
Amazing. As a matter of fact, we use Advanced Tax every year for our regular filing, and I just have a huge sense of relief knowing that that part of adulting is done for me.
Now, how do you feel about the staff of Advanced Tax Solutions?
The staff have always been kind, considerate, and caring. I feel like I'm the only customer when I'm there.
Any advice for anybody out there listening?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. The people at Advanced Tax will not judge you. They're there to help, and they're there to listen. Reach out before it's too late.
Thank you so much, Deanna. We'd love to help anyone out there listening. It's Advanced Tax Solutions, 303-753-6040.
Attention, Groove Toyota has over 200 clearance-priced pre-owned vehicles starting at $29.95. Yes, under $3,000. One location, 1 week only, while supplies last. 50 vehicles priced under $15,000. Go to GrooveToyota.com. Don't wait. The Colorado clearance ends Saturday night. See all clearance-priced vehicles under $15,000 at GrooveToyota.com. Do not miss this sale while supplies last.
Example vehicle, pre-owned 2016 Chevrolet Traverse LS stock number GT1988428B. Sale price $29.95. Price plus tax, title, license, and dealer fees.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How about 60 seconds that'll make you actually feel good for a change? Hey, Dan Jacobs with 303 Law 4040. You've heard me talk about the best free meal in Denver. And I had some listeners that had heard me talk about how I used to love to make brisket, but with outrageous beef prices, we just couldn't afford to do it anymore. We can't afford to feed that many people. Well, a guy, Barbecue Bob, showed up to one of our first and third Thursdays with a couple $1,000s of brisket so he could just help people. We're going to make free brisket here coming up in the next couple months for our best free meal in Denver. And then another guy, Fred, who runs the Ace Hardwares over on Gartrell Road and Arapahoe Crossing. He said, from now on, all your fuel you need for that barbecue is on me. And another guy, Bobby Hancock from IHOP. He fed our volunteers and gave thousands of dollars worth of gift certificates to our people that take advantage of the best free meal in Denver. If you want to help, you can. Just spread the word. It's the best free meal in Denver every first and third Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. It's at Smoky Hill and Arapahoe Road. And if you have any questions, just call us at 303-LAW 4040.
Growing a business is hard enough. Figuring out where to advertise shouldn't be a thing that holds you back. Your customers are listening to this station. Heck, you are. They're streaming Denver's biggest games on their TVs. They're tuned into the podcasts everyone's talking about. We help you show up in all three with one plan, one team, and results you can actually see. We've helped businesses like yours grow for years. Let us show you how. Visit DenverSports.com and click Advertise with Us.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Step Denver, a nonprofit solution to addiction and homelessness.
It's The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
All right, so we had Broncos minicamp over the weekend. And, probably one of the least interesting Bronco rookie minicamps that you'll come across. Now, I find it all interesting, just speaking for myself. But within the spectrum of what we've had previously with a first-round quarterback coming in here, first-round pick of any sort. There was no first-round pick or a second-round pick at Broncos minicamp for the first time since 1995.
It was the least interesting draft weekend in a long time in Broncos country. So it stands to reason to be one of the least interesting rookie mini camps in a long time. Doesn't mean there aren't some guys down there that eventually will help this team. I think, though, if you're looking at it objectively, there weren't a lot of guys on the field over the weekend who you would expect to help this team this year. Right. And we're all worried about the present, right? And there's a team that should be worried about the present. They're coming off a 14-3 season. They missed the Super Bowl by 3 points, and if their quarterback doesn't break his ankle in the divisional round, they probably play in the Super Bowl.
More on that soon.
It's about right now.
Right.
So a bunch of guys that down the road, when you have to pay your quarterback big money and you're looking for some guys still on rookie contracts to fill some voids in the trenches, okay, that you need those guys, but it's not exactly glamorous right now.
No. But if there was a guy that's like, man, I could see that guy on the field pretty quickly, it's Jonah Coleman, the fourth-round running back out of Washington. And listen close here, and before I play this clip, Sean Payton refers to a Peloton. I know when we hear Peloton nowadays, you think of like the bike that you buy.
Yeah.
But the meaning of Peloton, it's like a group of riders, right? Which is, of course, what Peloton does. That's their. But I just, to put it out there because he says it a couple times. This was listen close. Sean Payton asked about Jonah Coleman and his rookie minicamp.
Here is the one challenge with this camp. It's the only camp that we have in a year where there's not a Peloton conditioning-wise. There's guys that are in great shape, there's guys in the middle of the pack, and there's guys that are in awful shape. And normally, when you go into any camp, you've got a group that's been conditioning. Like when we get into OTAs or mini camp in June, there's a B-A level of conditioning. There's a Peloton, a group. And in this camp, it's always difficult. So, a guy like Jonah's is his schedule probably was a lot different than some of these other guys. He's in good shape. There's certain things you want to, when you're in this type of drill setting, you want to give him. And then he's picked it up well. He's looked really good.
You hear the code there? You hear like the code language?
He goes out of his way with this long explanation about the Peloton, about how some guys are in good shape, okay shape, and terrible shape. But then he says he's in good shape. Like, well, what made you go down that path?
But he also said, and his schedule was probably a little bit different than some of these other guys.
Meaning he was, not exactly, on the Peloton. Right? Right. That's what was going on. And look, I mean, Jonah Coleman's listed at 5'8", 220. He's a bit of, the old bowling ball type running back.
Yeah, built like a fire hydrant.
Yes, he's got thighs that look like tree trunks.
Yep.
So he's, kind of a thicker back anyway. So maybe put on a few lbs. It doesn't matter what he's weighing in early May.
No, but I'm really excited to watch Jonah Coleman for reasons that maybe we can even get into as early as tomorrow. But yeah, if you're listening the right way, that's a coach in May kind of hinting at Jonah Coleman not in the best shape.
He was sending a message to him, and I think he was probably sending a message to a group of guys. But yeah, I mean, if you had to pick somebody out of their rookie class that's going to make an impact, he'd be the logical choice because it's not a great room, even with J.K. Dobbins coming back because J.K. Dobbins is always injured. And it's the easiest position typically for a rookie to step in,
hit the ground running,
and have an impact.
Yeah.
So he will be fun to watch in training camp, and my guess is by then he'll be in better shape than he was this past weekend.
Yeah, and there's even a reason maybe why that he's not in tip-top shape. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, what did you make of the Bo Nix injury update? And what's 3 keys for the Avs to come home with a 3-1 series lead? Also, Bednar making a bold move ahead of Game 4. We'll get to all of that as we're on the doorstep of 40 consecutive minutes of commercial-free sports talk coming up next.
Summer is calling, and we're sending you to the lake in style. Download the Denver Sports app to enter our Day at the Lake contest for your chance to win everything you need for that perfect lake day. You get 2 paddle boards, 2 chairs, a cooler, pop-up tent, and Bluetooth speaker. Oh, and did we mention you also get a $250 gift card to fill up that cooler? Download the Denver Sports app now and enter today. We'll see you at the lake. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
This week's Recovery of the Week is brought to you by Step Denver, the men's residential addiction recovery program in Lower Downtown. Our Recovery of the Week this week belongs to Denver Broncos quarterback Bo Nix, who unfortunately, after a season-ending surgery after breaking his ankle against the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round, had to have another clean-up surgery on that same ankle. But the report is the surgery went great, and he should be ready for day 1 of training camp. And that was your Recovery of the Week, brought to you by Step Denver. And I'm sitting down with Todd at Step Denver. Todd, thank you for sitting with us. If you don't mind, just tell us what brought you to Step Denver and what has been your experience in Step Denver.
I just didn't want to die. I was in California, and I knew about this place, and so I found my way to get back here. And when I was in California, I had just given up. I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't care if I lived or died, and something told me to give him a call. And so I called him, and I was here 3 days later.
Wow. Is it safe to say that Step Denver has changed your life?
Yeah, pretty much saved my life. It's changing my life entirely from top to bottom.
What would you say, Todd, to someone who is maybe dealing with a similar situation that you were dealing with and is considering walking through the doors of Step Denver?
I just get here as fast as you can. And change my life. It'll change your life as well.
Man, I cannot tell you how much we appreciate that and being vulnerable and sharing your story. Continued success and sobriety and staying on the straight and narrow. We're rooting for you, very much so.
Well, thank you very much.
If you are struggling with addiction or want to make a donation to help the men who are calling STEP to get their life back today, please visit stepdenver.org.
Getting a little older doesn't have to mean, well, getting older. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. And if you're feeling low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, are struggling with brain fog, or your sex drive is off, it's time to change it up. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, our advanced medical strategies featuring TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more treat low T and other hormonal issues to help you shed pounds, have more energy, enhance your body composition, improve sleep, increase your sex drive, and so much more. Getting you back in the game again. So don't be older. Be stronger in the gym. Be sharper at work. Be better in the bedroom, and be more confident in every part of your life. So call us today and find out how our advanced treatment strategies could change the game for you. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on one of our advanced treatment plans on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
No tax returns, no W-2s, no kidding. We have expanded our guidelines to help even more people qualify for a loan to buy a home or save money on one they already own. Call U.S. Mortgages at 303 low rate.
All loans subject to approval and change. License number 392126.
So what makes Champ Honda different? It's simple. One price, one person, 1 hour, meaning clear, upfront, and fair pricing. There are no games, no guesswork, and you work with a single client advisor from start to finish. No runaround, there's no back and forth, and 1 hour so you can spend less time at the dealership and more time doing what you love. Plus, at Champ Honda, they never charge dealer handling fees. None. It's a better way to buy a car, and once you experience it, you'll wonder why every dealership doesn't do it this way.
Done right kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Our 8% scheduling incentive and bank financing to ask about make a great time to call 800-362-8370 or drhi.com.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Stream Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Dover and Cecil, The Drive, and all your favorite shows on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan app. Powered by Advanced Tax Solutions. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents The Drive with Zach By and Phillip Lindsay.
All right, rolling downhill here on a Monday. What did you make of the Bo Nix injury update? We will get to that here in just a second. But before we do, guys, spring is here. It means it's time for our annual, it's turned into an annual, Brouhaha. I think this is the third year we've done this. You can join us Friday, May 22nd from 2 to 6 p.m. for our first stop at Schoolyard Beer Garden in Denver's Golden Triangle. It is going to be a hoot of a time. We would love to see you later this month, a couple weeks from now. And I will tell you, we're only doing 3 of these this year. I think we used to do 5, 6. That's been cut down to 3. So if you're going to make it, prioritize it. Okay. The Bo Nix injury update. We'll get back to Avs here at the top of the hour. But this was Sean Payton at Broncos rookie minicamp.
He's doing great. He'll be well ahead of time for training camp. I think there's a good chance we see him in this off-season program in June. We're going to be the ones kind of holding him back, if you will.
More from Sean.
The follow-up procedure was not a surprise. I was just talking to Bo. We had 5 other players that staged surgeries where there's a step, they evaluate, and then a second step. We had 5. He was the 6th that actually went through that. No surprises. We feel real good about where he's at.
All right. I know we've talked about this before. We're resetting it because we heard from the head coach in a formal fashion for the first time this offseason on this subject beyond the season-ending press conference. There's really nothing transformative that he said that like recalibrates anything else that I thought in my head. No surprises. Everything was planned. There's nothing to see here, and I just continue to almost throw out my arm, tossing the challenge flag of just things that I don't believe.
I just keep picturing the old Pinocchio cartoons where the nose just starts growing as they keep stalking. Like, no surprises, really? Doesn't mean this is the end of the world. Doesn't mean it's going to throw off Bo Nix's season.
Nope.
But you're insulting my intelligence by saying there's no surprises.
That's right.
Then you go out of your way to have this stat that 5 guys did this, where it was we take a step, and then we evaluate, and then we take another step, and Bo's the 6th one. Like, that was the plan all along. No, it wasn't. We never have heard anything about that. It's never been said hey, even back at the beginning, it could have been like, hey, we always go in, we have the first surgery. 80-85% of the time that gets everything. If not, we'll evaluate it. We got plenty of time, long off season. We'll fix it the second. Like, never even a hint at that.
And even if you thought it was 30% possible, you would probably lay the groundwork in advance so there is not fire alarms or concerns like mine.
Exactly. And so that's I don't buy it. Then the other funny thing, and I didn't catch it the first time we listened to that today, but Sean Payton can't help himself. Once again, he starts putting out some dates, right? It wasn't just, hey, he'll be ready for training camp. Hey, we may see him in June. Sets it up if he ain't out there in June. We're all going to ask, why is he not here in June? You said he might be. So if he's not, there's a reason for it, and it's most likely not a positive reason. He could have just left alone of like, listen, we're going to protect him from himself. He wants to be out there. No, nobody would have wondered then in June if he's not out there, because they told us he'll be ready for training camp. And if he is out there in June, it's a pleasant surprise. And everybody's like, all right, ahead of schedule.
Right.
Why throw that out there? Even though he didn't guarantee it, he just said he might. Okay, well, that means something didn't go according to plan. If he's not, he might. If it goes according to plan, he will be. If it doesn't go according to plan, he won't be. That's my simplistic brain looking at it. I just don't know why he keeps creating these scenarios.
Well, if you have the ability to think for yourself, all right, and I'm not trying to be insulting, even though that did just come across like that, because there is just a large portion of Broncos country who believes whatever is said into a microphone, whatever the talking points are from the organization. And I, in some ways, and I think we disagree on this, I understand why the Broncos are trying to control the message here, because it's the only thing that you can control. You can't control the stability of his ankle. You can't control, what specific date he's going to be back to 100%. But right now you can control the message, and I think they're doing that. I think you have some good pushback on this. I know you'll get to, but I'll just continue to say, if you were paying attention in February, and the 3 leading principals of the Denver Broncos, head coach, general manager, and owner, are all on the same page that he's going to be ready to go for the offseason, and there's no hint of a potential issue down the road. There's no hint of it. and then now we're circling back and changing that entire plan. Like something happened, whether it was an incomplete surgery, whether he had a setback, working out, playing basketball. I don't know. But this was not always the plan. I heard Stoke and Stink talking about it this morning, and those guys coming from an NFL perspective of like, never would you do a surgery after the season where it's like, we'll do this now, and the plan is to go back into the same ankle and do some more surgery. Like, I don't even need to hear from guys like that, but the fact that I am, it just validates like just paying attention and being concerned.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Like, they don't want to open you up a second time. Well, in Bo Nix's case, it's the 5th time on that ankle. But for this particular injury, a second time, I just don't buy it. I do understand what you're saying if they're trying to control the narrative. I get that. I just disagree with how they're going about it. Like, they keep creating these milestones that, when they're missed, add to the concern level. And also, it's one of those things of like, it's May. It shouldn't be that big of a story now. They're almost making it a bigger story by the things they keep saying. And if all along it was just like, hey, it's February, we got a long off season here, we're going to get Bo right. The goal is to make sure he's ready to go start a training camp. That would have been a really simple message. Then none of this other stuff would have mattered. Then if he's not out there for minicamp, it's just like, listen, we're just being careful. We're just going to be smart. And we would all said, yeah, that's a good plan. Why get him hurt in June? That makes no sense. Why put him at risk in June? Now, for everything he misses, we're going to be asking the question of, was there a setback?
Right.
Was there a problem?
Right.
Was this a bad thing? And look, I know it's all different, but like, I have to have reconstructive surgery on my wrist. And there's a chance, like, partially because of age, arthritis, like, it may not work. So if they go in there and they do it, I go through my 12 weeks of cast and rehab and all that stuff, and it doesn't work, then they go back in and they fuse it, because that's the second option. If I go in for the second surgery, it's because the first one didn't go according to plan.
Right.
I didn't sign up for 2.
Yeah.
That's we got to go fix something because it's not quite right. Again, anybody to use your phrase, with a working brain can put 2 and 2 together here and get pretty close to 4.
Yeah. And well, and let me just add this on, and I know I have mention this, but it deserves to be emphasized on a day like today, because we're probably not going to talk about this tomorrow, and maybe not for the rest of the week unless we get some sort of news, social media post, something like that. What?
A video of him running and we're Zapruder filming it again,
yes.
breaking down
Yes.
the leaves on the trees.
Yes. I'm here for it.
Me too.
For me, I've heard a lot of this. Wake me up when it's day 1 of training camp. It's May. Why do we care if he's out there? Okay, I got all that, and I understand that. September is a lot more important than May. July is more important than June. But that is not my concern here. My concern, James, is not whether Bo Nix is going to be ready for day 1 of training camp or week 1 of the season. Far from it. My concern is long-term, big picture. With the evidence that I had leading into the final weekend of the season, or really the divisional round, this is a 10-year proposition. This is the solve for the previous decade when you were looking for a guy like Bo Nix. I feel like my concern level and my alert level with this is matching the importance of Bo. It's a big deal because Bo is a big deal. And the Broncos were wandering through the quarterback desert for a long time, and they found their guy. But there's something else going on here, and it does call it for me. It's a cause for concern, not week 1, but week 16 when the weather's cold, going in the postseason. This time next year, after they choose to extend him for $250, like we're talking about a $250 million decision here from the organization, and this stuff, this brittle bone stuff, this predisposed. I'm using that in quotes. That's the surgeon's word. Like the same surgeon who has done every single operation on Bo Nix since he was in high school. They're not all different guys. It's the same guy. And that guy said his ankle was predisposed. Now, Sean shouldn't have said that. But now I have that information in addition to 5 different times going into the ankle. This is a larger concern whether he's ready for, because I know he's going to be ready for training camp. I understand that. And someone's going to victory lap me in that moment. And that's fine. But my concern goes beyond who's right and who's wrong. It's his importance to the Denver Broncos over the coming years. And I could just continue to be deeply concerned about the long-term health here.
Well, if all we were dealing with was Bo Nix got hurt in the divisional game, they had a surgery, they looked at it and said, hey, it's not quite right. They went back in and fixed it again, and now he's going to miss some mini camp, but we think he'll be ready for training camp. If that was it, we'd all say he's 25 years old.
That's right.
There's not a big worry here.
That's right.
There's no reason to panic. He'll be fine, even if he misses a couple weeks in training camp because of this setback. No big deal. Wins the opener. Who they play, and let's just make sure he's on the field. Because how much is he going to play in the preseason anyway? Very little.
Good question.
Based on,
I think he needs to play. You got a new play caller.
I mean,
you're in a Super Bowl window. I don't think you're going into year 3. I don't know if you can just skip preseason. I don't know if we're there yet.
I tend to think they need to play that as well, right? We saw the Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson's first year here. He didn't play it down in preseason. That's not why it turned out the way it did, but it didn't help matters.
Right.
But the first time he was on the field as a Bronco was in Seattle.
And we've seen this team start slow for 2 straight years.
For sure. So, but it's the fact that he's had the previous injuries, the predisposition that you talked about that the doctor said, it all just kind of adds up of like, oh man, this is trending in a bad direction. It's a body part that as you injure it more and more and more and more, and anybody who's ever turned an ankle playing basketball knows this, it just gets worse and worse.
That's right.
You roll your ankle stepping on a crack in the sidewalk after you've rolled it 12 times playing hoops.
Yeah, this isn't Tommy John where you could argue it gets stronger.
Right.
No, that's not this.
And it's a part of the body. Yes, you can do things to strengthen your ankle a bit, but it's not like it's a shoulder or something where there's a bunch of muscles around it that you can really work and build up. You never talk about, that guy really built up his ankles.
No.
That's just not a conversation you have. So it's like, how do you really fix it other than surgically? And when those seem to not be working as well as they had hoped, it's a huge cause for concern because they're a Super Bowl contender with him. They're a top 10 pick without him.
Correct.
That's
correct.
That's
yes.
how important he is to this team.
Yes. So that's why, in conclusion here, before we move on, that's why I do not understand, after just exhausting the conversation, putting everything that we know, as pieces of evidence on the table, I do not understand the mindset of there's nothing to see here. We can disagree on the levels of concern, right? I heard Mark say this morning he's at a 4, Stokely's at an 8. We can disagree on the spectrum of concern, but what I cannot entertain is the mindset that there is no spectrum. There's nothing to see here at all. And there is a portion of this fan base and our listeners that think there is nothing to see here, and I would say I don't think you're paying close enough attention.
Yeah, the level of concern can't be 0. I feel like that's just being naive.
Agreed.
Right? Like, and maybe Mark's right. It should be a 4. I'm with you and Stoke. I'm at an 8. But I wake up at a 6. Like, I'm just worried constantly about stuff. So when I start hearing these things, I start getting closer to pegging the meter all the way to the 10.
Right.
But to say it's a 0 is just looking at life through orange-tinted glasses.
I
It
agree.
just is.
I agree. Because, and here's the...
Uh-oh. You don't want to say it.
No, because I know how I sound when I say it. But if I were to just give you 2 options, what do you think the most likely is? That after 5 ankle surgeries at 25 years old, that you're completely out of the woods and there's nothing to see here ever again moving forward, or that this is going to pop back up? There's going to be a number 6. There could be a number 7. I know, just deduction skills, that it's probably going to pop back up.
I think you're 100% correct. I mean, the guy who sits at this table in the morning at 20-some surgeries, they became more and more frequent as that number got higher and higher and higher than it was when it was 1, 2, 3. Like, they just tend to keep happening. I also, though, if the question was, what do I think is more likely? He's going to play the whole season or not play the whole season? I would say the whole season because he's missed 1 game as a Bronco.
The evidence suggests that he'll be available.
And so if it's cleanups every year, that's not great.
Yeah,
but it's,
I'm not worried about a cleanup every year when it's the major surgeries, and then the cleanups. The major surgeries come first, and a major surgery just prevented the Broncos from going to the Super Bowl. That's a big deal. I was told last week, you make a mountain out of a molehill. I don't know. I think missing out on a trip to the Super Bowl, that's closer to a mountain than a molehill. Yeah, that's just me though.
He's missed 1 game, but it was a big game.
Yeah, biggest game of his life.
Biggest game this organization's had in a decade. and he wasn't able to play because of this injury that is a recurring injury.
That's right.
So, yeah, I mean, again, to call it a 0 is silly. Maybe you and I are being overly panicked about it.
Maybe.
And I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And come training camp, he's out there. He looks great. They go all season without him having any issues with the ankle. I'm just going to be holding my breath all season long because now we know this problem is there. Think about it. Before he got hurt in the AFC title game, none of us knew he had ankle issues.
No.
I mean, how much we've learned since then.
You know who did, though? Bo.
For sure.
He knew on the sideline what happened. It was a familiar feeling to him that he was warning teammates, you won't have me next week.
Well, and it sounded like in the post-game press conference, I don't think even Sean knew it.
I know. And that's where you get into, like, how could you not know, but was he being real? It felt like he was being real in that moment.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, this is KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver, and KARS-FM Laramie. We are coming with it, and we are coming for it. It's Zach By hanging out with James Marilat, filling in for Phillip Lindsay today, and we are The Drive, presented by Regen RX. Hanging out with you guys here on a Monday, just a little over an hour from puck dropping in Minnesota for a massively important Game 4 in the NHL playoffs. Before we get to that, because I do want to break this down from every angle that we're aware of, but there is some news breaking here in real time when it comes to a legendary figure within the Denver Broncos, and that is former quarterback Craig Morton. James, it looks like you're looking at a piece of news that says he has passed away.
Yeah, the Broncos posted this on X about 10 minutes ago that Craig Morton passed away at the age of 83 on Saturday. So he played Ring of Famer here in Denver, played here for 6 seasons, led the Broncos to the Super Bowl in his first year in 1977. That was the season that really put this franchise on the map.
Yep.
And
Super Bowl 12,
Super
right?
Bowl 12,
Dallas Cowboys.
Yep, they lost to the Cowboys in that game, but he came here from Dallas, also spent time with the Giants. But yeah, he was the Broncos hadn't had a really competent quarterback at that point, which is funny because there's 2 other guys that are up on the Ring of Fame that came before Craig Morton. Craig Morton was the first competent. He wasn't great by that point. He couldn't move around as well as he did earlier in his career, but just solidified that team with their great defense and then put a competent quarterback behind center. The M&M connection, Haven Moses and Craig Morton.
Yeah.
The Broncos, especially back then, didn't have a lot of legendary type players. Craig Morton was certainly in that early group. So sad news that the former quarterback passed away at the age of 83.
All right, we're just sort of reacting to this in real time as it's being put out there publicly for the first time. So rest in peace, Craig Morton. Okay. Shifting gears, as awkward as it is, to the puck dropping in game number 4 tonight. Man, it feels like I had a middle school technology teacher years after I was out of high school. I was probably almost 30. I was probably 27, 28.
Signs that you're younger than me. You had technology in middle school. We did not.
Yeah, so this is what was this? This was like 1998, something like that, where I'm in middle school. His name was Mr. Keating, and he said, Zach, he said, I'm going to be honest with you. I ran into him at a social event, and he said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, when I met you in middle school, you felt like an egg on the top of a roof. You were going to roll hard one way or the other. And I remember that like hit me like, damn, like that's how you viewed me, at 13 years old or whatever I was at the time, and rightfully so. But that's a more dramatic way of saying tonight, game 4, it feels like if this goes the Avs' way, this series for all intents and purposes are over, going up 3-1, coming back to Denver for a massively important game 5. But if you lose, and this puppy goes from 2-0 to tied, I know you'll hear some people say, series doesn't start till, Okay, if you're coming back to Denver tied 2-2, and they beat the brakes off you in game number 3 to the tune of 5-1, very unfamiliar sight on Saturday night, and they will not have just tied the series, they will have taken all momentum in the series, and what it could mean from a goaltending standpoint with this major change that is developing here today. Man, it just feels like just 2 different ends of the spectrum. There's going to be very little middle ground by midnight tonight.
Yeah, I think tonight is the tipping point of the postseason. I think if they win tonight, I feel like it's a coin flip that they're going to win the cup, right? Like they're going to win this series. Then they go on, they play Anaheim or Vegas. They're going to be favored to win that series. And then it comes down to, all right, if you get Carolina, can you beat Carolina or Montreal or Buffalo or whoever else it turns out to be? But everybody right now is looking at Carolina that's what it would be. Like you got a 50-50 shot of winning the cup if you win tonight.
And actually, by the numbers, Drew gave us this earlier in the show. If they win tonight, the chance of winning the cup goes, is it 33%?
Correct, 33%.
And if they lose, it goes down to
22%.
22%.
Okay, and because on the other side of the coin here, I feel like if they lose tonight, they got a 50-50 shot of losing this series for all the reasons you just outlined. One, that it's 2-2, but all the momentum would be with Minnesota. And there's almost not a scenario where they could lose tonight where it wouldn't be bad. Like if you go get blown out, and now you made a goaltender switch and that didn't work, and now you got to try and go back to the other guy, or do you stick one more game with Blackwood in pivotal game 5? Like that would be a big decision to make in a game 5 in a 2-2 series of which guy's going to be in net. Or if you lose a game where you actually play really well and you still lose in overtime or a bad bounce here and there, you would kind of start to look at it like, things are just going Minnesota's way now. Like, how do we get this back? How do we swing the pendulum back in our direction? So I just think it's huge. I think it's the tipping point game. I think your teacher from technology class could have summed this one up perfectly. It's the egg on the top of the house, and which way is it going to roll? And once it starts rolling that way, there's no way bringing it back.
No, and that's why, on Friday, I was doing the show with Will, and I was almost like falling over myself, complimenting the Avs and the professionalism of the group. But and the point I was trying to drive home on Friday afternoon, evening, was the maturity of the group. And maturity is based off experience and growing. And I was saying this group, Gabe Landeskog, Nathan McKinnon, like they have been a part of an Avs team that was favored to win the Stanley Cup, swept their first round, were up 2-0 in the second round, even more overwhelming favorites as they were 2 weeks prior, and go on to lose in the second round, and in fact lose 4 straight. Because once they lost their grip on the series against Vegas in 2021, they could never grab the rope again. And it was just burning through their hands, and they lose in 6 after being up 2-0. And I remember saying, man, there's a lot of outcomes. And I picked the Wild to win. I picked them to win 3-2 in overtime. But I said, like, the one thing I know that you're going to get tonight, speaking on Friday, was you're going to get a group that knows the Wild's best punch is coming. And because of their experience, because Gabe is able to say in front of the group, hey, Nate, we've been here, right? Like, we've lost control of the series, and we're not going to let it happen. And that's what you get when you accumulate those scars through experience. And the fact that their approach on Saturday night was so underwhelming, and that's to put it lightly. I mean, they're talking about after the game, James, into microphone saying, we knew they were getting their best punch. We knew we were getting our best punch from Minnesota. Almost to a man they were saying that. And to still have that underwhelming, lackluster, non-urgent approach was very disappointing.
Well, it makes me question whether or not the stars on this team have championship mettle. And I get it, they've won a cup, and that was great. But, man, that looks like the aberration at this point, right? If they lose this series, it'll be 8 out of 9 years they've lost in the first or second round.
Right.
Now, the aberration was great. They won a cup. We all went to the parade. It was a hoot. But that would be the outlier, because teams that have true championship mettle have a killer instinct. When they have a chance to put a team away, they don't let them up off the mat, give them life, let them back into the series, and create a situation where, man, if we lose tonight, we get a couple bad bounces tonight, we may be in bad shape. No, you just end it. And look, if they'd have come out and played really well, played with some urgency, and lost because of some bad bounces, or they just couldn't get anything in the net, whatever. They kept hitting the post. Like, okay, it's fine. But they showed a lack of killer instinct. That's what worries me. That's what worries me. The other part of it that worries me, when they're 6-0, And we're talking, and we knew we were getting ahead of ourselves, but the way they just were rolling, they rolled all regular season. The way they started, like they just got bored with the season. It was so easy for them to just accumulate wins.
Yeah, agreed.
They had this sense of invincibility, and you start to get an aura about you. And it's like back how Mike Tyson was before he got knocked on his butt by Buster Douglas. He had most of those fights won before he ever stepped into the ring. Right. The opposition was like scared to death. But as soon as somebody knocked him on his butt, he was
never the same.
He was not the same fighter.
Yeah, it was never the same.
And it wasn't just that his skills were diminished. That was part of it. He was getting older. But it was also the other guy thought he had a chance against you. And if the Avs lose tonight, the Wild will certainly look at it as, oh, we got a chance against these guys.
Yeah.
We can beat these guys 2 out of 3 times.
Yeah.
Even though 2 of them are in Colorado. Because home ice doesn't mean a ton historically in the NHL playoffs. But if the Avs win tonight, take care of business, get back on track, that invincibility is still there. They're 7-1. They had a blip at that point. That's why another reason why, not only for this series, but beyond, it's a tipping point game.
It is a tipping point game. And because what will also happen is, the other fighter in your analogy has belief. He's seen it done. But what also happens is to the opposition, to the Tyson in this case, to the Avalanche, doubt and demons start to creep in. Because make no mistake, this group has demons. They do. And it's been a presidential term since they won that cup. And every year, and it's been dramatic. These have been dramatic losses, right? So it's one of these things where as the belief grows in the one fighter, the doubt and demons creep in the other. And I would just love to squelch any of those thoughts creeping in. The Avs are a better team. But we've seen, in my opinion, I've seen Avs teams that I thought were better than their opposition lose. Flat out. I've seen them lose.
Most of the times in the 8 of the 9 years where they've lost in the
They're
first or
favorites.
second round, they were favorites.
Right.
Like the prohibitive favorite to win the cup, or
Yes.
one of 2 or 3.
Yes.
They were certainly the favorite in the series because they didn't lose in the conference finals to another one of the 2 or 3 favorites, or into the cup or in the cup final. They lost in the first or second round. So most of the time, I know last year Dallas was in the group, but for the most part, they've lost to lesser teams. The Seattle Kraken.
That was, and that's another one. And I know there was some dramatic stuff happening within that series, but that's another one that was just hard to shake.
And when you have that history, if you lose tonight, they'll say all the right things into a microphone, but then it turns into, in the back of their minds, here we go again.
You're right.
And that's impossible to shut that voice off. It really is. The other thing that'll happen tonight, and it's why I've hated this goaltender situation from the get-go, and it's not because I doubted Scott Wedgwood. It's because I did not want to have this moment we're having now, because if they lose tonight and Blackwood doesn't play well, not only is Jared Bednar going to get questions, everybody in that room is going to get questions of, hey, who should be in net?
1,000%.
And they'll say the right things. We have faith in both of them, believe in both of them. They have an answer in their mind. Every single guy in that room will have a true answer.
But it might be different from the guy across the room.
Exactly. And that's the problem. That starts to divide the room if half of them are in Wedgie's camp, half of them are in Blackwood's camp. If you gave them a, Sean Payton latte and they would answer the question truthfully, they all have an answer.
What do you think the room is actually right now? If it's you're doing a pie chart here.
Ooh, boy.
Hold on, I'm going to write down my answer.
I'm going to say I think the room is 75% Scott Wedgwood, 25% Mackenzie Blackwood.
I wrote down 65-35 Scott Wedgwood.
And just because some of the veteran guys in there that've been around are going with the guy that's got a better track record. Hey, we've seen this guy for years. We know what he can do.
Scott Wedgwood overtook the position. He was not supposed to be the guy. He took it by force. And by the end of March, it was like, yeah, if you have and there was some big games down the stretch against Dallas, and Bednar went with Scott Wedgwood. There was a game against Dallas where they didn't go with Wedgwood. They went with Blackwood. He got pulled. Wedgwood went in, and they came back and won the game.
And look, this is probably a bad analogy, but at the time it was happening, it was similar because it can work out. It's the Patriots. Tom Brady wasn't the plan the first year they won a Super Bowl.
For sure.
Drew Bledsoe got knocked out.
Yeah.
And then in the AFC title game, Tom Brady gets hurt. And Drew Bledsoe has to come in and lead him to a win.
He played well, Drew,
on
in
the
that
road
game. Yeah.
against the Steelers.
Pittsburgh, that's right.
Heading into the Super Bowl,
right?
Bill Belichick had to make a decision.
That's
Who's
right.
starting the game?
Great memory.
The veteran who's making yet $100 million deal back then.
And who was also the number 1 pick in the draft and also had already led the Patriots to a Super Bowl when Tom Brady was at Michigan.
Right, exactly. And who had just played well in the AFC title game.
Right.
Or the kid who's coming off of an ankle injury, but you know what? He got us here. He was great all season long. It's a similar kind of decision. Now, it sounds kind of silly because one guy's the greatest quarterback of all time. The other guy, Drew Bledsoe, was pretty darn good.
Pretty darn good.
It's that, and that was a decision Bill Belichick had to make. Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest coach in NFL history. Jared Bednar ain't in that conversation when it comes to NHL. So, I don't know, man. He's created a situation that I just do not like. It has too many ways it could go bad and not a lot of ways it could go well.
And this is why I referred to it in the very first segment of our show today as a can of worms. It's a can of worms here. Like the phrase can of worms is invented for situations like this.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how is this going to go? Because if Blackwood struggles tonight, you go right back to Wedgwood after benching him? And if, say, Blackwood plays well, is Wedgwood just done after being the better goaltender all year, leading the league in goals against, leading the league in save percentage, being 6-0, heading into Game 3, allowing 2 even strength goals in the entirety of the first round, being pretty good in Game 1 and Game 2? Like, you get into this teeter-totter thing if things go right or wrong, honestly. And I understand riding the hot hand. Man, that's an easier thing to say than to actually execute in practice when a championship hangs in the balance.
And I get that the Avs, when they won the title 4 years ago, which feels like an eternity ago, they had to play 2 goaltenders. But it wasn't Jared Bednar coming up with the hot hand.
No.
It was Darcy Kemper got hurt. He got a stick in the eye, and Frankie had to come in and, keep things on track until Kemper was ready to get back in net. And then once he was healthy, he was back in net. Right? And you had to win a game 8-6 against Edmonton in that series because, and I get it, Wedgwood just had to win a game 9-6, but it wasn't like Frankie came out and stood on his head every single night and there was some sort of controversy of, once Kemper's back, who should start? It was once he was healthy, he was going to be there, and everybody in the room knew it. That's the other part of this continuity thing that people seem to be missing. I just think as an athlete, and if you're playing hockey, if you know who's going to be in net, that's just one less thing you have to worry about.
It's closure on that topic, yeah.
Exactly. The can of worms has a lid on it.
Right.
It's contained.
Right.
It's not opened up, and who knows where it's all going to go. And again, it may work out well, and we may come in here tomorrow, and it's like, man, Jared Bednar is playing chess, and we're all playing checkers. And he played the card right. And he knows the team better than anybody else.
Of course he does.
And he's left this door open for months.
Purposefully.
For a reason.
Yeah, purposefully left ajar.
Okay, well then this is the reason. The purpose was this moment, and he's playing the card.
I just don't know if it's a good enough spot to play that card.
I don't think it is. You're 6-1 in the postseason, and it's not like Wedgwood played poorly. He gave up a 4-on-3 goal, a 4-on-4 goal, and a power play 5-on-4 goal.
That's right.
One of them, he didn't have his stick in his hand.
Yeah.
And okay, Bednar says because he was overly aggressive. I'll take his word for it.
Yeah.
But I will take that from my goaltender. I'll take that from any athlete in any situation. He's being overly aggressive. I'd rather dial a guy back than have to be kicking him in the fanny.
By the way, and I don't know the answer to this question, when is the last time the Colorado Avalanche played a game? And you guys don't have to go look it up. I'm just rhetorical here. But I do want to know the answer at a certain point in time. When's the last time the Avs played a game and they didn't score a 5-on-5 goal? We realize that happened on Saturday night, right? This is the best 5-on-5 team in the league by a country mile. You have someone like Nathan McKinnon who had the best season of 5-on-5 since Jaromir Jagr in 95-96. And so to watch the team play a playoff game and not have a 5-on-5 goal, that borders on the bizarre, James. It just does.
It's a prime example of how it was a total team meltdown.
It was.
Not just the goaltender. It's also they took some silly penalties, put themselves in a position where the Wild were able to have advantages and stack goals and put the Avs in a hole that on that night, the way they were playing offensively, they weren't digging themselves out of that hole.
No.
But if you go back and watch every single, especially the goals against Wedgwood, the first 3. Just watch how lackadaisical everybody in an Avs sweater is on the ice.
Oh, it was painful. It was unrecognizable.
Just letting people skate right past them.
Oh, yeah.
Val Nichushkin just coasting behind the play, watching a goal get scored right in front of him. And probably nothing he could have done on that play.
Right.
But it was also like he was a bystander.
He was, and Val, I actually thought, played a little bit better than a lot of the other frontline guys. Mainly, I know McKinnon scored, but McKinnon, on a shift-by-shift basis, lot to be desired. And Marty Netchus, was hard to watch. And I ride for Marty for reasons that I won't get into. By the way, the last time, and thank you to Drew Behind the Glass, the last time the Avs played a game where they didn't score a 5-on-5 goal was March 18th against the Dallas Stars. That's almost 2 months ago.
Wow.
And by the way, speaking of March and the things that haven't happened since March, my guy Brock Nelson. Where's Brock Nelson been? Brock Nelson, the last time he scored was, I think, March 29th, where a goaltender was in net, not like an empty net goal. Like, Brock Nelson, like, where are you at? Second line, where are you at?
So I can add him to my list of DB Coopers, right? Because I said Val is DB Cooper.
No. Right now, the face of DB Cooper, if we're assigning the face, and if you don't know who DB Cooper is, go do a Wikipedia search and carve out some time. Yeah. The face of the DB Cooper within the Avs right now is Brock Nelson.
Just put those sunglasses on him. That's exactly who he is. Yeah, he's been a total no-show. And the other thing about tonight is, and this may not be true, but I think both rooms will believe it, if the Wild win tonight, and let's say they go again where the Avs don't score a 5-on-5 goal.
That impossible.
It's not impossible.
Impossible.
It's not impossible.
I refuse to even accept that premise.
Okay, it's not impossible. I don't think it's likely, but let's say it happens, and they win the game.
It only happened 3 times all year, by the way, and it's not going to happen back-to-back, but keep going.
They're in that room, they're going to believe they've decoded the Avs.
Oh, yeah.
And they probably
It'll
haven't.
be Rudy Gobert after 4 games.
Exactly. They probably haven't, but they're going to think they have, and there's going to be a pretty big percentage of people in the Avs room who thinks that's the case as well. And, man, once doubt gets in there, that is hard to shake. So I just think it's a monster game. It also, though, is kind of...
Who's starting Game 5? Trent Miner?
It's kind of has the potential to be... Well, no, it's not potential. It's the case. It's told you so Monday. And it's not just me with the goaltender situation. I was sitting in here last Monday and Tuesday, and I was saying if they win Game 2, this series is over. And you brought up the example of the Vegas series 6 years ago.
Cautioned you.
And as we talked it through, it's like, yeah, but this team is much better than that team was. And I still believe that. But you cautioned me. That's exactly the right term of don't get ahead of yourself. I'm like, nope, this thing is done. I'm hoping you're wrong, because if they win tonight, this thing is done. But you were right in terms of I should have not gotten ahead of myself and started looking at, is it Anaheim or Vegas?
Well, and just to be fair, like, yeah, I cautioned you, but I also 3 days later did a segment of could the Avs supplant the 87-88 Edmonton Oilers for the greatest Stanley Cup run of all time. So there's a little bit of guilt to be shared amongst the group. All right, what was Jared Bednar saying today about the switch in goal? You'll hear from Bedsy next.
The Avalanche, the Wild. Round 2. This is where the real battle begins. Score! Every game gets bigger. Every hit gets harder. Every moment matters more. Our guys are in the locker room. Our shows are locked in on every matchup, every adjustment, and every shift in momentum. On your morning commute, on your lunch break, on your drive home. Our shows have you covered from puck drop to final buzzer and everything in between. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver's playoff headquarters.
Any jewelry store can sell you a diamond.
But there's only one family jeweler in Colorado that was literally built on them.
In fact, we've sold more diamonds to more couples for more years than any other jeweler in Denver. I'm Steve Williams.
I'm Dylan.
And I'm Shayna Williams. That's why we built Williams Jewelers of Inglewood, an entire store totally dedicated to celebrating your love.
All the world's top bridal designers 10 times of certified loose diamonds.
And Denver's true diamond experts, like me, who will share their knowledge and passion and how to get the most diamond for your money, guaranteed.
So whether you're looking for the perfect diamond engagement ring,
Or that second diamond celebrating a love of many years.
We have the perfect diamond for you.
that's why every day more couples say will you with Williams.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
Williams Jewelers, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche.
I'm Drew Carney, anchor with 9 News. I love the Denver sports scene and living just 20 minutes from Red Rocks. I'm here to get you ready for the day ahead with the latest headlines. Covering breaking news that affects you and your family. Getting you the information you need right when you need it. Across the Denver Metro, we've got you covered. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to Colorado's #1 streaming newscast. 9 News Mornings, weekdays starting at 4:30.
Ben Franklin here to talk to you about water filtration. Unfiltered water in your home is no joke. Did you know tap water can shorten the life of your pipes and, even worse, be dangerous to your family's health? Our punctual plumbers can install a whole home system that filters water before it enters your pipes. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com or call 877-BEN-1776 to request an appointment.
The local pros call Benjamin Franklin Plumbing.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left?
I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that?
My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier-looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume.
Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped.
Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine.
My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You can't always predict what's next, but you can be ready for it in a BMW SUV. The performance-driven X1 comes built for every journey, while the X3's sporty design and innovative technology keep your drive connected. The X5 blends performance with a commanding presence, or make it even bigger with 3 rows of luxurious seating in the X7. For every road, there's an X built to drive it. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Gebhardt BMW, your trusted family dealer since 1975.
Cecil Lammy here from my friends at SodaDietNutrition.com. Now, 5 years ago, I lost 60 pounds because of soda, and I'm never going back. I've never gained the weight back. I never will, because SodaDietNutrition.com, they taught me how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat. It's simply magnificent. I want you to call them up, 866-800-SODA, where you can join Soda for a short time to have results that last a lifetime. Soda weight loss is now SodaDietNutrition.com, and you've got to have these guys on your side, because the weight loss journey, it can be tough. There can be struggles. Having a real nutritionist there available via text to help you out with any sort of questions, concerns, sometimes it's just straight up encouragement. It's SodaDietNutrition.com, and there's no mystery pills, mystery injections, any mystery chemicals you're putting in your body. You're doing it the right way. Learn how. Join the program. SodaDietNutrition.com, 866-800-SODA, because SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Denver at 720-637-9567. 720-637-9567. That's 720-637-9567. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra
and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationdenver.com.
Your roof's the single most important part of your house. Snow and high winds can damage your roof. Don't trust your roof to any fly-by-night roofing companies. Call the professionals at Golden Spike for a free roof inspection and tell them you heard about it on The Fan. They're a locally owned company and a Team Dave Logan member.
Call Golden Spike Roofing when your roof needs a fix. 303-942-1386. Golden Spike Roofing.
You're listening to the Drive's playoff pregame show on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
Bottom half hour number 4. We'll hear from Jared Bednar in just a second. We do have news coming out of Minnesota that we will pass along here and call it 16 seconds. Guys, summer's calling. We're sending you to a lake in style. Download the Denver Sports app to enter our Day at the Lake contest for your chance to win everything you need for the perfect lake day. Here's what you get. 2 paddle boards, 2 chairs, a cooler, a pop-up tent, Bluetooth speaker, and a $250 gift card to fill up that cooler. So download the Denver Sports app now and enter today. All right, James Marilat filling in for Phillip Lindsay today. We do have news officially from Minnesota that Mackenzie Blackwood has just led the Avs out of the tunnel and onto the ice. He is, we speculated throughout the afternoon based on some of the telltale signs from morning skate. We do now know that Blackwood is in between the pipes.
And I think that creates a situation where the storyline that we're going to be talking about tomorrow at 2 o'clock, it's one extreme or the other. It's either Jared Bednar, stroke of genius, or Jared Bednar created a problem when one didn't exist. I have a hard time coming up with another scenario, like of what else could be the result of tonight. If they go out and win, I mean, I guess if they win 9-6 again, it wouldn't necessarily be a stroke of genius. They could have won with anybody in net, but they won, and he's made the switch, and it didn't hurt him, and they got the W. They're up 3-1. All right, stroke of genius. If you go out and you lose, even a close game, it clearly you played that card, you pushed that button, whatever you want to say, and it didn't get the necessary effect,
right?
And you've created a problem because then it's who's in net for the pivotal game 5.
That's right.
The guy who
That's
was
right.
6-1 in the postseason, or the guy who's 0-1 but he played well in a loss.
God,
I mean, it just sets
can of
up.
worms. A can of worms.
It's a can of worms, and it's one extreme or the other. I just don't know how it's. I don't know how it's anything in the middle.
Well, I have also good news and bad news from Minnesota. What do you want first?
You know what? Let's start with the bad news.
Sam Malinsky and Arturi Lehkonen are not on the ice for the Avs.
That is bad news.
And both guys at each points have been pivotal. You think of Sam Malinsky getting the party started against
first goal of the series.
Yep, correct. From Marty Netchus, I believe. Not great. Not great.
No, that is bad news. That definitely qualifies. That's okay. So
now,
they're shorthanded.
Now the Wild had been going through some stuff too, and have been going through some stuff. So just to turn the coin over. The good news is that we now know officially Josh Manson is going to play tonight for the first time in a while. When is the last time that we saw Manson? He got checked into the half wall, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was Game 3 or Game 4 of the Kings series. I think where he left. And then he came back, but then left and never returned, and he hasn't played since.
He hasn't played since. We believe we're going to see him tonight. This was Jared Bednar earlier today on what Josh Manson would bring to the series should he return.
Well, you're looking at a big, strong bottom six in mini that protects the puck real well. And so the size and physicality and the ability to close plays out and get you in and out of your zone a little quicker is, like, for me, the most beneficial thing that he can bring for us.
All right.
Well, no, I mean, that's a definite bit of good news. I mean, this is a team that in 2 of the 3 games has had a lot of defensive lapses.
Yeah.
Game 1, they had a bunch. They gave up 6 goals, not because Scott Wedgwood was terrible. He wasn't great that night, but it was a lot of defensive lapses. I think they probably had even more on Saturday night in Game 3. We're just not talking about him because it's all been about the goaltender. Maybe that's Bednar's stroke of genius, right? Like, hey, let's. He's the magician. Instead of focusing on what the real problem is, I'm going to create this thing over here, and that's what everybody's going to be looking at. Because in 2 out of 3 games, they've had a ton of defensive lapses, and we ain't talking about the ones that they had in Game 3 because we're talking about Wedgwood and Blackwood. But having Manson back will hopefully clean it. I don't know that it'll clean all of it up. It won't, but it'll clean a lot of it up.
I hope so, and I hope that he is. You're missing time during the playoffs, like the speed of the game, the conditioning, being sharp. It's one thing to be available. It's another thing to be available and sharp and productive. Sam Malinsky, Arturi Lehkonen, both ruled out with upper body injuries. So I'm sure Bednar will talk more about this after the game tonight. Drew, behind the glass, filling in for these guys tonight, Jack Ashawn is one, and who was the other?
The other would be Joel Kiviranta, who I don't believe we've seen since the first series as well.
Kivy, okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right.
I mean, for a team that's 6-1 in the postseason, there are a lot of nerves in this studio and, around this office today when it comes to this game. And I think it's for a lot of reasons. I think, one, we all kind of can sense the importance of it.
Yeah.
But I also just think none of us really know what to expect tonight. Like, deep down, we'll make our picks, but do you really know what to expect given how poorly they played in Game 3? Because we didn't see that coming.
I would, if I had to guess, I will bet on the Avs bouncing back in a major way in the department of intensity, intent, determination, grit, hunger, all that stuff that was lacking in game number 1. I think will show up in a major way tonight. I think that they've earned the benefit of the doubt heading into Game 4. Now, I'm not saying that's a guarantee for success because Minnesota may have found something. And like Blackwood, there's a reason why Blackwood got overtaken, And by the way, like the goal that he did give up in the most previous game, it wasn't necessarily, Yager to Lemieux.
Right.
So, I take that into consideration as well. Spivak, behind the glass, where are you? We haven't asked you all day long. Obviously, you live and die with every shift here. What is your mindset coming into tonight?
I don't feel great, and a lot of it goes back to that goaltending decision because I go back to that game the other night. I didn't think Wedgwood should have been pulled to begin with. I didn't think any of that was his fault. I thought he played pretty well considering how many defensive breakdowns happened in front of him, and now pulling the trigger on going to Mackenzie Blackwood just kind of feels like like you guys have said, you're opening a can of worms that didn't need to be opened. So I'm real nervous about this game and real nervous about the series as a whole now. Now, like James has said earlier, like, hey, Jared Bednar could be proved to be genius tonight by making this move. Or this could end up being the thing that not only cost him the series, but this could cost him his job at the end of the day.
God almighty.
I can't even believe we're even talking about this because, like you said, this team's 6-1 in the postseason. They've been outstanding for the most part. But they had a real bad game the other night. You're allowed one bad game. Minnesota made some adjustments in this series. Now we'll see what the Avs can counter with tonight.
You are allowed one bad game. And despite some of the conversations we've had, none of us expected them to go 16-0, right? The best run ever to a cup is 16-2 for a reason, right? Nobody's going to do that. But it's the way they lost.
I know.
Right? Like, if they would have lost a game to the Kings, and as the Kings team, it was just, they were like the football team that was content to punt, right? And so if you lose a game like that 2-1, it's like, okay, it happens. But the Wild were able to slow down the Avs, hold them to a goal, while still being this high-flying, high-scoring team. I think if you lose a 2-1 game to the Kings, all right. If you lose a 9-6 game to the Wild in kind of one of those shootouts, like, yeah, but we're still the Avs. They stopped the Avs from being the Avs and didn't have to play this grind it out, slow it down, LA Kings style of hockey to do it. That's what's a little nerve-wracking / scary, is that they were able to accomplish those two things, which seem polar opposite. Not that you're going to be perfect every single game, but boy, I'd have been hard-pressed to think that's the kind of game we're going to see and that's the kind of game they're going to lose.
Game 4 predictions next.
You asked for it, you got it. Backed by popular demand, it's the Drive's Brouhaha.
Big social brouhaha.
This spring, Zach and Phil are back on the road bringing their party to you. First stop, the Golden Triangle in Denver. May 22nd from 2 to 6 at Schoolyard Beer Garden.
There was quite a brouhaha.
Come find out what the commotion's all about. Head to DenverSports.com/drive for more details.
Guaranteed to bring the brouhaha.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Zach here for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, talking to you men out there about intimacy. Let me just say this, guys, and you know this to be true in your heart of hearts. It matters. It matters a lot. But when erectile dysfunction gets in the way, it can be frustrating, embarrassing, even isolating for you and your partner. But the truth is, guys, most men don't have to live with ED anymore, not in 2026. All right, you'd be surprised by how the right treatment can improve your love life. And at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, guys, they have success rates well over 90% with guys with ED. All right, they've served the Front Range for nearly a decade. They're not new. They've successfully treated tens of thousands of men just like you. So I hate to break it to you, you're not that special. ED is actually pretty common. The initial visit, just $99. That includes a medical consult, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. It's real simple. If the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit's free. Stop living with ED. Call them 720-440-7900 or simply visit them online at RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spring is here, but if you're feeling exhausted with no energy and no sex drive, it may be time to head to Low T Center. 1 in 4 men has low testosterone. At Low T Center, you can book a free testosterone test and see if you qualify for TRT customized to your body by expert providers. Choose self-pay or insurance. You can even have your treatment shipped to your door. Low T Center's got the highest quality testosterone, and their providers tailor it to you, so you know it's effective. Put the spring back in your step. Head to lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com to book your TRT appointment today.
When disaster hits your home, it's game time. Water in the basement, fire damage, mold creeping in? Don't sit on the sidelines. Call Able. Able Restoration is your first round draft pick for emergency response, mitigation, and full rebuild. We move fast to protect your property and fight for you with insurance start to finish. This isn't practice, this is your home. And when it's time to step up and protect what matters most, bring Able to the table. Call 303-590-5600. Go Able.
Bring Able to the table.
Stop waiting for rates and take advantage of real buying opportunities. Lowest Rate for Life helps you get the deal you want on the home today, and if rates fall in the future, we can redo your loan with no lender fees and no appraisal fees. U.S. Mortgages 303 low rate.
All loans subject to approval and change. License number 392126.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we know you're no stranger to setting big goals, whether in school, at work, or in life, and you're ready for more. At UMGC, we offer the skills-based education you need to move your career forward. Learn how to apply AI, data science, and other emerging tech, plus gain skills in leadership and critical thinking. You've come far. Succeed again. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Are you looking for the perfect engagement ring? Hi, I'm Scott Matthew with Matthew's Fine Watches and Jewelry. We have a great selection to choose from. If you're looking for that one-of-a-kind custom ring, our associates will take the time with you to design that ring that she will love, and her friends will go crazy over. At Matthews, when you purchase your ring and Centerstone, you'll receive 20% off your wedding bands. Make the right choice. Come to Matthews and save.
Matthews Fine Watches and Jewelry, located in the Highlands Ranch Town Center or online at matthewsfinewatches.com.
Dental phobia? Consider Sedation Dentistry with Clarkson Dental. Their highly trained team will lead you through an exceptional dental experience from that first fearful call all the way through to aftercare. Call the most experienced sedation dentist and staff. Clarkson Dental, coloradosedation.com.
Want real Broncos talk? Cecil Lemmy and Andrew Mason bring the heat on Orange and Blue Today. The most passionate intelligence and in-depth Broncos coverage in the game. Weekdays at 5 p.m. on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Hit subscribe at Denver Sports 104.3 and never miss another take. Orange and Blue Today, powered by Ramos Law, official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. You're listening to the Drive's playoff pregame show on Denver Sports 104.3.
Stanley Cup favorites. I should probably look at them in a vacuum, but I can't erase the history because, like I said, I've sat in this exact chair into this exact microphone with this exact setup and watched them lose. I don't think that's going to happen. I'll give you my official prediction here in a second, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's pull the fire alarm, the season could be unraveling, and 1 is you're asleep in bed. Where is your nervous energy at heading into Game 4?
8 or 9. And you're right. It shouldn't be. This is they're up in the series. They haven't lost a home game throughout the entire playoffs. Even if they lose tonight, it's a tied series. They got 2 of the last 3 games at home. There shouldn't be that much worry about it. But I just feel like it's the tipping point. I don't know. It's not that I only feel like it's the tipping point of the series. I feel like it's the tipping point of the postseason. If they win, they're going to win this series, and then I think they're going to the Stanley Cup final. And it's a 50-50 shot that they're at a parade. They lose tonight, it's a 50-50 shot that they're out this round. It's just that big of a game because of the Demons, momentum, the other team starting to get belief that they've figured you out, right? They're Buster Douglas and you're Mike Tyson. And once you've been knocked to the canvas and you're reaching around trying to find your mouthpiece and you can't stand up by the time the ref gets to 10.
Yeah, nothing was the same after that.
No. And it's like, is that what's going to happen if they lose again tonight? It's got me very nervous. How about you?
I am would you say 8 or 9?
Yeah.
Pick one.
9.
I'm a 6.
Okay.
I'm
more worried about Bo Nix.
Big picture, long term. Big picture, long term. This is more short-sighted. Like it's here right now.
Okay.
Because my concern for Bo goes beyond training camp. It goes beyond one game. It's big picture, long term, where this is like compressed into a very short period of time. But 7. 7.
Yeah.
7.
as the game inches closer. We're watching the television coverage here, and they've got the clock that's counting down to puck drop. And as the time just goes off, I get more and more and more nervous.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. Something to watch tonight. Who scores first? I know that's important in every game, but the Minnesota Wild and Colorado Avalanche, when each scoring first, have not lost yet in this postseason.
Wow. Okay.
How about
There's
that
your
for a stat?
indicator.
Yeah. So, like, getting off to a fast start is massively important. Massively.
Well, I think it's even more important for the Avs because the Wild showed in Game 1, they were down 3-0 in the blink of an eye. Like, I know the first 10 minutes nothing happened in that game, but then boom, boom, boom,
yep,
and it's 3-0. They were able to dig themselves out of the hole. They got up 5-4 in that game. When the Avs fell behind 3-0, kind of in boom, boom, boom with a bunch of weird, fluky, 4-on-3s, 4-on-4s, guy loses his stick, they showed no ability to dig out of that hole.
No.
They never really, even when they got the goal, they had life for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think, it might have been even less. Yeah.
So for the Avs, I think it's even more important. Maybe not one, but man, you fall behind multiple goals, it's that egg at the top of the house that you were talking about from your technology teacher. It's going to roll one way or the other.
And roll hard.
It's going to pick up steam as it goes. Man, maybe a 10 at this point now as we talk about it as it gets closer and closer and closer.
All right, let's do one bold prediction. Doesn't have to be super bold or hot takey, but one prediction tonight. I'll go first. I'll let you gather your thoughts as I'm putting you on the spot here. I will go with, look, 3 keys to victory real quick. The Stars have to shine in a way that it was cloudy on Saturday night. Couldn't see the Stars. Special teams has got to be much better. Much better. It was mostly a disaster when the Avs were a man down the other night. And Mackenzie Blackwood is going to have to be the very best version of himself. I'll say my bold prediction within the game, you finally see Brock Nelson show up in a way that he has not. He did not have an attempt on goal.
What
in
does
the last
show
game.
up mean?
He scores a goal.
Okay.
Brock Nelson scores a goal tonight for the first time since March 28th.
My bold prediction is someone in the game gets a hat trick. Now, who's it going to be? You asked for bold. I went bold.
That is bold.
Now, I'm going to wait and tell you who because it gives away my prediction as to who's going to win the game based on which side that falls on. I think someone tonight has a big night.
All right, I'm going to go my final prediction here. I'm going to go the Avalanche have earned the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion, to bounce back. It was one loss. I picked them to lose on Friday. I was hoping I was wrong about that. I wasn't. I'm going to pick them to win tonight. They find a way to win a low-scoring game. Avs 3-1.
Unfortunately, I don't feel like it's going to go the same way. Jared Bednar is making the biggest coaching decision since Gary Kubiak decided to go back to Peyton Manning. And I don't think he's earned the benefit of the doubt that we just trust him to make the right decision. He's a guy that if they lose this series will have lost in the first or second round 8 of the last 9 years. Series are all about adjustments. We saw it 5 years ago, when they were up 2-0. Vegas made adjustments. Bednar had no answer. Hopefully he does, and hopefully the Blackwood changes it. I just want. I'm the state of Missouri. Show me.
Yeah.
I gotta see it. So I'm gonna take the Wild tonight. I think they win 4-2.
All right. I hope you're wrong about that. I hope I'm right. We'll be back tomorrow at 2:00 to discuss it, no matter how it falls. Guys, enjoy it. We step aside. It's Denver Sports Tonight coming up next.
Game 3 didn't go Colorado's way. Minnesota cashed in where it counts, dominating on special teams and swinging the momentum in their favor on home ice. Power play chances, penalty kills, the Wild made theirs matter. Meanwhile, the Avalanche turned to a goalie change, searching for a spark, but couldn't slow the surge. Now the series tightens, and the Avs are on the hunt for answers. Can Colorado regroup and flip the script in Game 4? Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategies, strategy and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. Restore your bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning hair with the same simple one-day treatment I receive from Dr. Tanya Pauls of Advanced Hair. Your own natural hair begins regrowing the very next day, and your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 720-459-HAIR, advancedhair.com.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Hey guys, it's Mark Schlereth. I just